One at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
What is up, everybody? A Victory Monday. Let's talk Jets. Mr. Primetime, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Victory Monday, 4th of the season. Let's go.
I mean, this is what it's all about, man. You play the game to win the game. It's all about winning.
Said it best.
That's it. You play to win the game. They won the game. This is all about, this is for the culture. This is for the team. What happens now always translates to next year. What we see yesterday will definitely happen next week. What we saw yesterday will definitely happen next year. You can't tell me anything else because I won't believe you.
I know you're being sarcastic.
That's not true.
I do think there is a hint of truth in there that if you want to build a successful culture, you can't just go out there and tank these last 4 games. I'm ashamed of myself for even rooting for the loss yesterday because I don't want to see these guys get traded. I don't want to see this thing totally get burned to the ground. So I'm happy for the young players, whether they win or lose, these next 3 games. I don't really care too much about, but I'm happy for the young guys that they played well. So I'll leave it there. I'm sure we'll get into Rodgers soon enough.
No, we saw the future, and the future is bright. We saw it yesterday. We saw what the Jets are going to be yesterday, and that's all I need to see. They can cancel the next 3 games for all I care. Just roll it up. Let's roll it back, man. Just roll it back. We have all the pieces in place. We're not a quarterback away. We're not a defense away. We're just a coach away. Give me a coach. We are good to go, bro. We are here. We are finally have found all the pieces to get this going. The simple task of get a general manager, get a coach. Let us run this shit the right way, and we are going to 12-5 at best. I mean, come on.
Coaching is clearly the biggest issue, but yes, the roster still has some issues. I think the offense is just about set. Maybe you need a right tackle, maybe you need a tight end, but the rest of the offense I think is pretty young and looks pretty good. You need a defensive line, obviously. You're getting Jermaine Johnson back, but there are pieces to work with, man. The head coach or the coaching staff in general, the lack of coaching for the last 14 years, that has clearly been the biggest problem with this organization. So if they get that decision right, I'm fine rolling with most of this roster with a top 10 pick and whatever you can do in free agency.
Yeah, I mean, what we made the huge mistake of thinking where you pick in the draft matters. It doesn't. It's just as long as you pick in the draft, that's all it really matters. As long as you're in the draft, it matters. It's not what you got the first pick, 5th pick, 10th pick. It doesn't matter. As long as you have a pick in the first round, we are happy to just be there. We're happy to be involved in the New York Jets. It's just we're good. We're good to go because you know what? Who we hire will get great value at 20, at 5, at 7. It doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, that's what a good GM would do. They would find the value wherever they're picking.
Absolutely
so if they nail the hire,
of course.
Which is
draft position does not matter. Oh, absolutely right. Draft position does not matter.
8 to 12. What's the difference?
But exactly no difference. I mean, if you can draft the best defensive tackle in the draft in the 4th round. Why worry about the first round anymore? Doesn't matter. We trade away picks. Who cares about them? It doesn't matter. We have it all in place here. Mm-hmm. Everybody's just got to just chill out and relax because real fans do not root for losses. Real fans don't worry about draft spot and getting the best player available. We don't worry about that. No. We worry about we must win every game now because this is establishing our culture, keeping in mind that Panthers aren't going to be here next year. Well, that's not the details won't get in the way.
Forget the wins and losses. Most of this roster should be back next year. If you want to talk Clemens, you want to talk Lazard, you want to talk Kinlaw, obviously those guys aren't coming back. Tyron Smith, throw him in there. There's obviously a lot of guys that are obviously not coming back. But a majority of this roster is pretty young, and I think we still haven't seen what they're truly capable of because they've never played under competent coaching.
Yeah, I mean, you only need 2 safeties, a defensive line, probably a corner, 2 tight ends. I mean, probably another receiver. I mean, that's not too bad. Right tackle. See, I mean, I don't know why everybody's. I mean, I don't know why people are rooting for losses, dude. This is because you got to understand the winning now. That culture you establish now, and you're 4-10. pays such huge dividends next year when you're 0-0 with a whole new staff of plays and 30% of a new roster. I mean, it's really important because they're going to be like, you know what?
That's true every year, though.
No, it is true because when you're in the dog days of training camp in August, you remember December 15th when we beat the Jacksonville Jaguars and we didn't quit on each other. That is the mindset we have to have as we go into week 1. We beat the fucking Jaguars, bro. Do you remember that culture we established then? Okay, that's what we need today.
All right, so losing the last 4 games and tanking for a draft pick, is that going to change our culture?
No, I'm not about. No. Listen, this is
Victor Green. You love Victor Green, right? He's a leader. I mean, he was on Twitter today. Players don't tank. That's not how you change your culture.
Players don't tank.
Of course, culture here, laying down over these last 3-4 weeks. That's not going to do it. So.
Players don't tank because they're getting paid to play. If you tank, if you're a free agent tanking, you're diminishing your value. So players play. No player is going to lay down.
Wouldn't you agree, though, that this is much different from 2020, where like we both agreed at that time it made sense to root for a tank because you were trying to get Trevor Lawrence, the consensus #1 pick. You were trying to attract a top head coaching candidate.
Absolutely
There's
right.
In this draft, like there's not that #1 consensus quarterback that everybody wants.
But see, the problem that I have
is that a majority of this roster is young that hasn't been coached right that I would like to see come back. So if you hit rock bottom, chances are new GM's coming in. They're trading off half these pieces. Garrett Wilson's going to request a trade. I'm not ready to go down that route yet. But I want to stay at least 1 year with these guys with competent coaching.
And that's fine. But the thing is, do you think, honestly, beating the Jaguars makes Garrett Wilson want to stay here?
No.
Okay, I'm just making sure. How this works. I got to understand how this works.
The winner or the loss, I don't think really matters. It's how the team actually plays and ultimately the relationship behind closed doors that we don't really know about. Which I keep saying the player exit interviews at the end of the year, I think are going to be very telling. What does Garrett Wilson have to say? What does Morgan Moses have to say? CJ Mosley, your respected leaders that have been a part of winning.
Morgan Moses and CJ Mosley won't even be here.
No, but I'm saying though, he's been with the Ravens for 5 years. He's been a part of a winning culture before. Like I would trust what those guys have to say over.
It's not rocket science. The worst coach team in the NFL. I mean, it's not even.
I agree with that.
Like that, it's like anybody with 2 eyes can see it. They all can see it.
Yeah.
It's like we're a terribly coached team. So now you roll back next year and you figure it out. To me, it's like it starts with like it's funny to see all these takes right now. Like who's a real fan, who's not a real fan. It's so stupid because I can give a shit who wins or loses.
If you're still watching this team after having not made the playoffs for 14 years, you're a real fan, regardless.
But you're
free to think however which way you want. We could disagree.
There's 2 points though. The first thing is if you finish 4-13 or 5-12 and 6-11, the fact of the matter is it's 14 years, no playoffs. These meaningless wins don't mean like, oh, you know what? We won these last 3 games. We show we can win. No, you didn't. You had a terrible season. You didn't make the playoffs again, and you grossly underachieved. Let the facts smack you in the face sooner or later how that happens. That's the truth. Winning these 2 games means jack shit because you're still a dysfunctional, bad, losing organization. So if these winning 2 games now, we showed what we can do. You should have showed it 2 months ago. But you're poorly coached. Understand. The other thing about draft picks, everybody is so consumed with, bro, if we don't, that top 5 pick is not a quarterback I want. Okay. What if you get the best defensive tackle in the draft? What if you get a great wide receiver to pair up with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams? What if you get those pieces that you desperately need? Bro, I mean, what if Devontae Adams says, you know what? I want my $37 million guaranteed next year and we can't afford it? Because everybody likes to talk in fantasy land, but nobody likes to think about financial ramifications and cap hits and the reality.
Salary cap is a myth. We've said it on this show for a decade.
It is.
Salary cap is a myth. There's always ways to work around it.
Absolutely right. Salary cap's a myth when you when you're sell yourself for fucking 9 wins, and then it's just like, you know what? Yes, we got those 9 wins. Next year we got to cut off the roster because we have 2 guys that don't want to be here anymore or going to retire. The facts get in the way sometimes, but that's sad. But you know what? Go team, go. We got the win. Victory Monday. I love it. But when the draft comes around and the Jets are at 9 or 10, and be like, you know what? I wish we were at 7 so we can get player X. I wish we were at this. But, bro, don't get mad because you beat the Jaguars and you're happy about it.
I'm not going to get mad because ultimately I'll keep saying I think if we were picking top 5, there's a good chance that whoever your next GM that you're going to hire, he's going to come in and probably clean house. And once you start that rebuild process, I'm telling you, Sauce, Garrett Wilson, any young player that you love, they're going to be gone. They're going to request a trade.
That's not even true. You can run it back. But see, that's not even true. If the Jets lose these games and bring back Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers with a top 4 pick, that pick could be a game-breaking talent that you add to your mix and you keep building pieces to your puzzle. But since when is it a crime to have a top 5 pick with Aaron Rodgers still here? Is that like something? Is there a crime? Like, oh no,
I'm saying if they play well, they're not going to be picking top 5. That's the thing.
But the thing is, it's not like There's an argument for both sides. Like people saying, you know what, rooting for a tank is stupid. Actually, it's not. Give me the best defensive tackle in the draft, put next to Quentin Williams. See how the shitty defense gets better overnight. Because if you think the defense doesn't need a lot of work, you're out of your goddamn mind. Like the defense is now a problem. They're so bad. Because half the guys everybody hates aren't going to be here. Guess what happens after that? You got to replace them with somebody. You're not going to do it with 5 undrafted free agents. That's the problem.
I'm not saying rooting for a tank is stupid, but I just think that there are a lot of young guys, like I keep saying, there are a lot of young guys on this roster that have not been coached properly, where we don't truly know exactly what we have. Exactly. And a lot of these guys have even overachieved over the past couple of years with poor coaching. So imagine what they could actually do with competent coaching. So I still don't think we have a true knowledge of what this roster is. Almost everybody before the season had the Jets winning double-digit games, making the playoffs, with the one asterisk being, what are we going to get from the coaching staff? And
there was plenty of questions. Like
that was the biggest question.
Right, that was a question.
We all said this is a roster that should win double-digit games. Who didn't say that? And
no, we also said
everybody said it.
There was concerns with coaching. Then Tyron Smith was some risk associated with him because he was older. Nobody really wanted, but the Jets and the Cowboys. There was little things, but the whole thing was Aaron Rodgers could overcome it. This, that, and everything else, and he didn't, which is fine. Listen, I don't care if they win or lose the rest of the way. Because to me, it all comes down to players aren't going to ask to be traded until you go out and hire your staff. When you hire your general manager and you hire your coach, then and only then will the players say, I'm buying in or I want out. That's when it makes a difference. When that coach walks up to Garrett Wilson and says, here's my vision for you, or they say, you know what, my vision is I don't want Aaron Rodgers here anymore, that's when the players decide. Nothing that happens right now fucking matters because the people that are making decisions are not in the building anymore. The scheme's not going to be the same. Nothing is going to be the same until everybody gets blown out and you start hiring people. That's why this shit's funny as hell. Like nobody.
As much as I want Rodgers back, even I keep admitting it, that the new GM and head coach, they should be the ones making that decision.
100%.
Not anybody else, not Woody Johnson, nobody else. They should be making that decision. Whether I agree with the hire or not, whether I trust them or not, they should have full control to make that decision.
1,000% agree. And that is my only, like, I don't care, win, lose, tank, don't give a shit. Rodgers can play great. I don't care. Him playing great, wonderful. You're seeing what we should have saw for the last year and a half. That's great. I want Woody Johnson to be like, here is my pile of clay. What do you want to do with it? If Dimitroff or Robinson or Riddick or whoever it is says, you know what? I respect Aaron Rodgers. Our vision going forward doesn't include him. Woody Johnson can be like, you know what? I respect it. The last thing I want to know is, because you already sense it now, the way they're handling things. They'll be like, you know what? He really needs to come back. You're going to alienate people doing shit like that. You are. It's just a fact, because nobody wants to inherit something. They want to take over a team with their program and say, here's how I want to run your team. So they're doing interviews now. I'm curious to see, once these interviews subside a little bit, when the feedback starts trickling out. You know what? I shared my plan, but there are some things that I have to do if I want to take this job. And that's if that doesn't happen, great. But if it does happen, that's my concern, dude, because we'll never get out of our own way then.
No. And that's still my biggest concern, that Woody Johnson's ultimately not going to pay the guy or give up control. And we already saw with Belichick, just not even taking the interview. And you can have whatever feelings and personal vendettas you want against Belichick. If you wouldn't take a guy with his experience and his resume to try to turn this shit around for a couple of years, you're out of your fucking minds.
No, bro, I said it immediately. Everybody's like, oh, Belichick hates the Jets. I'm like, he may hate the Jets, but the minute he expressed interest at Tannenbaum, I'd be like, we want you here tomorrow. I want to hear what your vision is for this team, what needs to be fixed, how would you fix it? Tell us what it is. And then he may say, you know what, I don't want the job. You just picked his mind for 24 hours, and your next candidate you interview, be like, all right, he said this, you know, how prepared are they? Like, you're going to compare everybody anyway, but that football mind is one you should have. I mean, I would have been all over that shit, dude. I don't care how much everybody hates him. He's and
that's why I was saying last week, he's like one of the few guys that you would actually trust to kind of handpick a GM or even have that role where he's kind of in control of everything. Because I would trust him, I would trust Vrabel, I would trust Gruden picking a GM more so than I trust Woody Johnson in the fucking 30-13 team.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's
I'll tell you right now, the candidates that have been mentioned so far, I like all of them, to be honest with you. I like their resumes, because you know, it's like everybody's, well, we got to get Agnew, we got this. The only thing I know is I want an experienced guy that's done it before. I don't want a first-time general manager. I just don't. That's me.
So Dimitroff works for you?
Yeah, why? Tell me why you don't like him.
I mean, any second-time GM is going to have hits and misses. I mean, he obviously had some excellent draft picks with the Falcons. Never won a Super Bowl, but obviously he was close enough. You know, built a good program there. But again, like any GM hire, it's going to be prove it mode. Like I'm not going to get excited about any GM. There's head coaching candidates that can excite me, that can help change the culture a little bit. A GM hire is just going to be like prove it for me. Like I was excited about Douglas, but anybody else that's out there right now.
Well, that's like the thing is there is no perfect candidate. If the guy is available now, he got fired for a reason. If the coach available now, he got fired for a reason. I mean, we sit here and fucking praise Joe Douglas endlessly when he got hired because he has that Raven pedigree, he has the Eagle, he's a great football guy. I'm old enough to remember when they hired McCagnon. What an excellent scout he is. He's an excellent scout. I'm even old enough to remember Idzik. What a great financial guy he is. He's a cap guru. I remember all this shit. So it's like you can find positives and negatives with anybody, but for me, it's like I don't want a first-time guy. I just don't. This team is way too dysfunctional and way disorganized where you need to have an adult in the room that says, this isn't working anymore. This scouting staff is not working. I'd rather go down in flames with a guy that has a complete vision with his whole regime in here than half-assing it like we've been doing it for the last decade.
Oh, perfectly fair. But again, like for me, it's just, it's prove it. Because like you said, we've been excited about how many hires in the past.
That's true.
You know, we gave them all, 2-3 years of, excuses and all the reasons why they failed. And look where we still are. So whoever they hire, I'll be open-minded to it, but it's still in the back of your mind. Like, all right, go out and actually prove it. Go out and draft.
Of course.
Do what you say you're going to do and actually change this culture.
And have higher standards as an organization. Like, don't keep justifying losses and be complacent and have accountability. But it's just, I want reputable guys in here. And the thing is, when this year with Joe Douglas, he lost Hogan, he lost Alexander. They promoted with it. Then like enough being cheap, enough promoting your buddies. Clean the shit up and get the guys out and bring in new guys and give a whole look to the organization. Like this organization needs it, dude. Seriously, like you look at how this roster was compiled this year and you see all the flaws and deficiencies where it's like, man, like they completely destroyed the defensive line. A lot of things didn't make sense. They took risk on the wrong players. Free agency's been a disaster. So now it's like, whoever your evaluators are, it's obviously not working. So now we need dude, clean it out and give that power to this GM. That's when you say, okay, you know what? At least you say, you have a chance. It may hit, it may fail, but I don't want the same guys in place making the same decisions. I just don't.
My biggest fear is that Woody Johnson's just not going to surrender that power, or that guy is not going to trust Woody Johnson to do that.
Well, that's got to be his selling point. That's like there's a lot of pressure on Woody Johnson because anybody taking this job knows they read the tea leaves. They know what everybody's saying. It's all over social media. The Jets' job is toxic. Woody Johnson meddles. You had Belichick ripping him every chance he got. You had players rumblings, all kinds of stuff. But he's got to have that first interview because it's a two-way interview. Woody Johnson asks him questions. They're going to ask him questions back. He can't be bumbling and stumbling and wearing his fucking Woody chain. He's got to be like, yeah, you know what? What you heard is not true. I want you to run my organization. That's what you need. And if he doesn't do that, you're going to hear about it. You're going to hear about it in the meetings. Like the meetings are starting this week, or they maybe even started last week. I can't wait to start hearing the feedback where it's like, you know what? Woody Johnson's been open-minded. This is a pretty good conversation. It's a good job. Or you hear it, you know what? This is not what we thought it was going to be.
Well, the fact that they wouldn't even interview Belichick tells me we're probably looking at more of the same, but I hope to be wrong.
So in terms of the game yesterday, we missed the super chat. Shit, my bad. There you go. Oh, is it to you? Prime time. The Jets can win out, and guys like Sauce and Garrett Wilson still may ask out, especially Sauce.
I don't think so.
It depends on the hire, man. I think it really, if you hire a coach that's, they may hire a coach like, you know what, I don't believe in this guy, or I don't like this offense, I don't like this deep. I think offensively is probably the one that Garrett's can look at. Like, all right, is this a pass-friendly, player-friendly offense? Is it a ground-and-pound offense? I think it's contingent on that. It's also going to be the speech. Like, can they buy into his vision, or is a guy bumbling and stumbling like, trust the process, all gas, no break? Like, bro, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you're right though. I don't think the wins and losses really mean too much to them. It's about the hire. It's about actually changing the culture and getting this thing turned around. I think they would probably give whoever they hire 1 year, but that would probably be it.
Yeah,
and if you bring in somebody that wants to tear it all down and starts trading off pieces, then I think they would follow and probably want out.
And I think it's on a lot of levels too. It's like you have your head coach, your offensive coordinator, but also like position coaches. Like right now, these guys know Keith Carter's not a good coach. They know it. So the next guy that comes in, if he's like, starts saying something, you're like, bro, we're not going to get better like this. Like,
yeah, we've seen this already.
The first impression is going to be huge, that's where you need all these established quality coaches here, because they're going to see right through it. Absolutely see right through it, because they've been through it for the last couple of years.
1,000%.
So If they want to, I mean, it's going to be interesting offseason, man. Some guys are just going to be, they'll be fed up. They want to win. They want to win. Like, they may want to win now. Like, I'm tired of losing. No playoffs 14 years. They want to go to a winning team. I mean, you see, especially wide receivers, they ask for trades all the time.
See, with that comment, like, just get more draft picks. So we're going to take what little talent that we have and trade it off with the hope of hitting on more lottery picks. Like, I don't agree with that. Like, guys like Garrett Wilson should be part of your future. And if he's not, I'd be pretty pissed off about it.
Dante, first of all, thank you. I'm sick of bad football and bad organizational decisions. My girlfriend is a Bills fan. I'm sad watching competent football while our team can't contain leaks. I mean, the leaks now are no surprise because you have an interim general manager and interim head coach. The wheels have fallen off, and now it's a free-for-all where everybody's going to leak whatever they want because there's no repercussions. Nobody cares. Like, you can say whatever you want, and nobody's going to say stop doing it, unless you're Tony Adams, apparently. That's easy. He's the only one that gets held accountable.
He's the one guy. Yeah, he's the one guy.
And Malachi Corley, apparently, too. He don't play either. He's in the
what the hell did Corley do?
He's in the biggest doghouse. He's getting passed by practice squad guys.
Unbelievable.
But yesterday's game, obviously, to me, one of the biggest stories that nobody's really talking about, or much as they should, is Olu, dude. Yep. Tyron Smith goes down, and this was Olu's our future. And and the one thing is, you got to give a caveat of it's just the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are not a good team. But Olu's getting valuable experience and doing excellent, dude. Like, he's really progressing, which is awesome going to next year where you have your anchor at left tackle.
And also the fact that, early in the year, he showed that he was versatile. They had him getting some reps at guard and then right tackle. So just the fact that he was able to handle all that and now he's shining at left tackle, that's awesome. And it's not even just him. I mean, you had everybody on your offensive line. Nobody gave up more than one pressure yesterday. Yep. I think Tippmann gave up 0. And the entire offensive line is relatively young, minus Moses. So I think that's a good situation going forward.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at young building blocks, you have, like if AVT can stay healthy, that's a huge if. But if he does, you have AVT, you have Tippmann. Simpson's been holding his own, and Olu, and Tippmann's that's where you have your Mangold and DeBrickashaw. That's your dream to have that. You're not gonna have a perfect offensive line, obviously, but that's a good thing. You see what Devontae Adams could do. That's what we hoped to see 3 or 4 weeks ago. But he's a superstar, dude. He's a great player that just needs. Aaron Rodgers has time to throw the ball, then you get a chance to see what he can do.
And that's why I'd like to see this come back next year with better coaching, because you got 2 legitimate number 1 game-breaking wide receivers with an offensive line that's starting to gel, playing relatively well, and you got 2 running backs that you can kind of trust also that are playing pretty well when they're healthy. So I like the look of the offense. I think they're starting to gain some chemistry. I think it would be a shame if they just decided to reset everything.
Now, did Breece Hall tweet something today, like free 20 or something like that? Somebody sent me a message like, "You see what Breece did?" And I didn't see it, so I don't know. But I mean, if he's getting upset because Isaiah Davis and Brown out, or I mean, if anything, you make a case Breece shouldn't play as much because he's banged up. You want him healthy for next year.
There's no reason for him, and I've been saying it about Morgan Moses also. Get a look at Carter Warren, get a look at Max Mitchell, figure out what you have for next year and whether or not maybe you have an option in house.
Yeah, I don't think Rodgers let that happen. I think Rodgers wants his best guys to play because he wants to win as much as possible. Yeah. So then you go to Aaron Rodgers, who had, he had some missed throws early on, and then he had a clean pocket. He looked mobile. He led the team in rushing. How about that, Breece Hall? Yep. You can't even beat Aaron Rodgers.
Looking young.
But he looked, it's the Jaguars. You keep thinking you want to see against the Rams this Sunday in 40-degree weather when it's cold and whatever else, and not sunny down in Florida. But you saw some good throws. You saw the connections. You saw some, you saw some good, great, and you saw some bad. You saw the bad shoulders. You saw the guy jumping around in the air. But obviously, it's back-to-back good weeks where you're all right, he's finally healthy. Yeah. That's a good thing. Now it's
that's also the sad part in a way, because, if we would have had this last year while the defense still was relatively intact and you had your, 2 starting units on the defensive line all playing well, the thought of what that could have been. And even this year, if he wasn't rehabbing the Achilles and then he was banged up the first half of the season, he got his leg rolled up and all the other shit that happened, you wonder what if. And I still think about the possibilities, what maybe can be for next year. Maybe it's false hope, but
yeah, I want to see him. So. I want to see him against the Rams, against the Bills, against the Dolphins. Okay, you played against a bad team in nice weather. Let's see you play against Buffalo when they're, and they'll probably be clinch things. Or play against the Rams, who are playing for everything this Sunday. He's a lot of things, but it's listen, if he's playing good, you want to see him do well, man. You don't want to see him go out like that.
I need to know why Rodgers isn't a leader. Has the team quit on him? Has the team quit? Has the offensive line quit? Are they not blocking for him? Are the wide receivers not making plays for him? Have they laid down? They haven't. They all wanted him here. He worked I always say this. He chose the Jets. He didn't have to choose the Jets. He chose the Jets.
They're the only team that wanted him.
chose to come back
They're
here
the
on
only
one
team that
leg.
wanted
Chose
him.
to come back here on one fucking leg on crutches, trying to
wouldn't
help
go out-
out Zach
oh,
Wilson
what?
and the mess he had last year. Fucking rehabbed in 4 months so that he could have been there
For his Netflix series.
If we could have stayed in the hunt, but now he's not a leader. Get out of here with that bullshit. No.
Dude, he didn't choose the Jets. They're the only team that
I
wanted him.
I don't buy that he's not a leader. A guy with his resume doesn't have that kind of success if he doesn't have leadership capabilities.
But no, see, I completely disagree. I mean, it's one thing to talk the talk. He could be a leader in Green Bay where he's established himself. He talked the talk with the Jets and didn't play well early on. Where people are like, listen, you want me to run better routes? You want me to run better routes? Make the fucking throw, bro. And he wasn't making them. So everybody's like, why are you holding us accountable? Hold yourself accountable. You're not playing well. Like, he was part of the losing problem too early on. The one thing I'll say is I think our expectations were too high, thinking that he was healthy and better. Because I remember even Lauren saying at training camp he was limping. Like, everybody said, oh, he's got a little limp. He's got a little that. Like, I don't think he was truly healthy coming into the season. But we were all like, you know what? He's back. He's ready because he told us so, and we wanted to believe it. But I think just like every other player, look how many times running backs get hurt. Brees. And when they first come back, it takes a little time to get back. I think Rodgers week 1 probably wasn't, but maybe 80%. And now he's finally, after all his shit, finally there. Yeah. The damage is already done. But in terms of his leadership, I question some of it. I think he could be. I think the team gave him so much power.
Garrett Wilson doesn't want to play with him next year?
I think he wants to win, dude.
So do you think he can do that with Garrett or with Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he would want to do that with Aaron
I think
Rodgers?
I think it's more of the coach. I think more it's going to be because you do see Garrett Wilson's visibly frustrated on the field right now. He's becoming more demonstrative than he's ever been when he's getting missed. So
he was like that last. He was like that last year too.
But that could be horrific play calling, or that could be Rodgers just missing him, or Rodgers featuring Devontae Adams because his buddy. It could be a lot of things. But Rodgers is playing. He's playing better, which is great. Can he finish that way? Great. But it's like you like to see finally a passing offense. But to me, nothing that happens the next 3 weeks matters to me. The general manager makes a decision. Like, I don't care. They can win all 3 games. I don't care.
I agree with that. I just think it's silly that we're not calling him a leader based on, bad body language and everything else when every player in that locker room gravitated to him, the second he was here, that he was here.
You can compare
we talk accountability when he throws guys under the bus, but like, isn't that what we're looking for? Somebody to hold these guys fucking accountable.
We're also looking for fourth quarter comebacks. He had what, one yesterday?
And that's all him? That's all. So
how many missed throws did he have?
7 games when the Jets had a lead with 1 minute left and they lost 3 of them. That's all Aaron Rodgers.
Thank God I'm mailing you these jerseys.
Can't make a fucking kick and cost them 3 games. That's all Aaron Rodgers, right? Come on.
Thank God I'm mailing you these jerseys. I got 3 Rodgers jerseys I'm mailing you. I'm glad. Make sure you wear them on the stream.
I'm gonna rock the shit out of those.
Yeah, I think the Rodgers you saw in training camp was not the same Rodgers you saw once the losing started. I think he went into a complete shell and was like, it's not me, it's everybody else. I'm just gonna go through the motions.
I think he was frustrated. I think he was injured. I think there were a lot of things that were going on.
Be the leader that you're supposed to be.
The owner meddling and firing the head coach at the worst possible time. Everything possible that could have gone wrong went wrong. I think as fans, we're just piling it all on Aaron Rodgers.
I think
that's stupid.
I think Devontae's probably a better leader than Rodgers is.
Well, he loves Aaron Rodgers, so.
I mean, I don't know. It's wild. All right, so let's go to some calls. We've already like a half hour into this. Nobody wants to hear us. They want to hear. Now, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with chaos? Do you want to start with calmness?
I wouldn't mind some chaos to start.
All right. What's up, man?
So I gotta disagree with you on that Bill take.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's hear it. Because you hate the Patriots, bro.
It's not about that.
Yes, it is. You hate them.
It's not about that. I'm going to tell you why. Because you're hiring Bill thinking you're going to get 2003 Belichick. You're getting,
but hold on. Before you go on your little rant, not one point did I say hire Bill Belichick. I said you bring him in for your interview and get his vision for the team to see what he thinks is wrong with your organization. How does knowledge hurt your head?
Dude, I don't buy that. I don't buy that rumor for 1 second. I think it is a bunch of bonchinche.
Because you hate the Patriots. You don't want to believe it. But the
I
fact
don't
of the matter
buy
is
it
the Jets should have brought him in for an interview.
I don't buy it because I think he just did that to just give the Jets to just throw shade at the Jets. He let it out there.
You think he'd rather go to North Carolina than take an NFL job and chase Shula's record and prove he can win a Super Bowl without Brady?
If it was between the Jets and a college team, yeah, I think he hates us that much.
Disagree with you.
Bullshit. Absolutely.
But I wouldn't take him anyway. Like I said, I wouldn't take Bill Belichick.
All right, so who do you want as a
Who
coach?
would you hire over Belichick then?
Easily Mike Vrabel. Not even close.
Not even close.
Because here's the thing.
I love Vrabel.
I want to ask you this. I want to ask you, what are Bill Belichick's biggest weaknesses? What are his biggest weaknesses?
Drafting.
Yeah, what's the Jets' problem?
Is he being hired as a general manager, or is he being hired as a head coach?
You know why? Do you know why he didn't get hired in the NFL? You know
apparently,
why?
Apparently, you know.
Because when you're a guy like Bill Belichick and you had complete and absolute control of a team for over 20 years, you're not going to take less than what you already had. You're not going to take less. It's ego. He's driven by it. He wants full control, and teams are smart to say, we don't want to give you full control because we know that when you had full control at the end of New England, it was an absolute mess. I mean, we all remember Cole Strange, N'Keal Harry. Remember fucking Sean McVay laughing like, "Whoa, we were going to take him in the 4th round when they had like no picks up until the 4th round. They were waiting for the 4th round to take Cole Strange, and Bill Belichick has taken him in the 1st round."
Okay, so
So
I still
and then
I still
second,
understand.
and
Go
the
ahead,
number.
go ahead.
Okay, so that's number one. He can't draft. And number two, his offensive stats over the last 2 years have been terrible. I mean, because that's the thing with Belichick. He's just going to bring in his good old buddies for his coaching staff. So I want to ask you, who out of
with
the
Josh
Patriots-
McDaniels?
I don't trust Josh McDaniels. There's only one possible guy I would trust that comes from the Belichick tree to run an offense today. That's Brian Dable.
To run the offense, not to run a team, right?
Yeah, no, because I've seen him have success outside of New England. Every other guy.
Yeah, with Josh Allen.
Yeah, but Josh
Primetime
Allen.
success with Josh Allen.
Yeah, but we all remember what Josh Allen looked like in 2018. 2018 Josh Allen was not 2020 Josh Allen. Like what he took, we all remember how raw and just wild he was in his first 2 years in the NFL. And then the 3rd year, it clicked, and he just turned into a stud quarterback. That's Brian Dable's coaching. That's the only guy I would possibly trust. And like I said, he's just going to bring in his good. And we need guys that are more forward thinking. That there's a reason why it just fell apart at the end of New England, because he just had a bunch of old guys. He didn't adapt to the game. There's a reason why he's out of the game, and a guy like Andy Reid is still coaching, because Reid adapted.
He has Mahomes.
Yeah, but also Reid adapted.
I also think it's a different version of Belichick. Like, he's not the same kind of clever prick that he used to be. He's doing like the roast with Brady. He's doing more interviews and stuff. You're seeing a more personable side of him, I think. So it's a different kind of.
It's called PR. That's just my opinion.
I don't hate him the way you do. You can't just dismiss 20 years of great coaching and just say, "Oh, he's only the quarterback," and they had great defenses. How many of those years?
Yeah, but that's my opinion. Like I said, like I said, I'm judging him by what he looked like at the end, because the NFL, or like any business, it's not what you've done for me. It's a what you're doing for me business.
Okay, well, most of the guys that are available have been fired. So what are they doing for you if they've been fired?
But here's the thing. Their more recent resume is better than Bill Belichick's more recent resume. Let's be real here.
Okay, but Vrabel's been out of the league for a year.
Yeah, but like I said, also fact of the matter, 2 of his OCs were hired to be head coaches, and one of them is obviously, like I said, very successful. Let's be honest, Matt LaFleur is a very successful head coach. The guy can build a staff. I trust him to build a modern NFL staff for the 2020s. I don't know if I can say the same about Bill Belichick right now. That's just my opinion. Like,
So you disagree the fact that they should interview him and get his thoughts on how to fix the team?
I don't think he was going to ever take the interview. I think he just threw it out there for shade. I think he just wants to stick it to. I mean, this is a guy who, like, when they did the documentary of going into MetLife, he's like, he didn't even want to step inside the Jets locker room. This is a guy who's taken every opportunity to take the piss on the Jets. So
was he wrong? Was he wrong for leaving when he did?
Nope.
I mean, he knew everything about it.
For a guy who's taken every opportunity to take a piss on the Jets.
All right, so if Vrabel doesn't come here, who do you want?
Not really sure that I don't have a. Like I said, Vrabel's like I said, my number one pick. I don't know. I really don't have another pick out of it. My problem with Flores is his inability to build his constant turnover on the offensive side of the ball. So I
Still
guess
won.
I would put Flores at number 2.
Oh, for all that instability, we won a lot of football games.
I know, but that's the problem. Is like
Winning's definitely a problem.
no. What I'm saying is the problem is the instability on the offensive coaching staff. It's not good.
So does he have the inability to learn, adjust, and improve and become a better head coach the second time?
Perhaps. Also, the other problem was he could never win the big games as a head coach.
I mean, you could say the same thing for Vrabel. How many Super Bowls does he have? How many great teams he have that he go all the way and win?
Yeah, but I'm talking about this. 2020. The Dolphins are 10 and 5.
No, but you got to look at both sides. Okay, you don't like Flores. How many big games did Vrabel win? Did he win a Super Bowl?
No, but he made it to an AFC title game.
Did he win it?
No.
Oh.
But I'm going to sit here. Like, he got into the playoffs. I'm talking about this. Look, let me tell you this. But here's the thing. Like, let me finish. There's no reason the Dolphins should have lost that game in 2020. That's 10 and 5. They're going against the Bills team that has nothing left to play for. They're playing. They're going to play their back of the game, and they got their doors blown off.
Okay.
Like, go back and watch that game in 2020. They got their doors blown off against Buffalo's backups. It wasn't
How many times did it happen to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers?
What? Get their doors blown off by a bunch of backups?
How many times did Aaron Rodgers and the Packers have a great team and then lose in the playoffs and get embarrassed at home?
They get into the playoffs. He couldn't get into the playoffs.
But no. You said he couldn't win big games. They make the playoffs and they lose. Aaron Rodgers with great teams. What happened there? You can be consistent or no?
Here's the thing.
Do
you want winning seasons or do you want playoff first?
No, here's the thing. You keep moving the goalposts because your point makes no fucking sense.
Dude, look.
I did.
I want a coach that can make the playoffs.
So now it's not about winning the big game. It's just making the playoffs. Now that's our standard.
No, because you got to build yourselves up.
So now we're building up. So now it's not big games. Now just make the playoffs. That's all our goal is now.
Whatever, man. Look, agree to disagree.
Yeah, but I don't know what your point is. You changed it 5 times.
I did not.
You didn't. Of course you did. It was like I want a guy that wins and win big game. No. Now I want to just make the playoffs. Now it's like we'll just be eligible for the playoffs. What is it?
Look, I'm not a big Flores guy. Okay.
Okay. Then who you like, Vrabel, or we're gonna sell the team?
I like Vrabel's. Like I think Vrabel's my number one pick because, like I said, you need a guy who's going to be here long term who can build a stabilizing presence. Who can stay because that's the biggest thing this organization needs is to stabilize itself in the same way that kind of like how Bill Parcells, even though he was here for only here for 3 seasons, that culture he built helped stabilize the Jets. It led to the.
So you think Vrabel has the same power and aura that Bill Parcells has?
I'm not saying he does. I'm saying it's the closest. He's the candidate that probably comes the closest to having that ability to stabilize the franchise right now.
You might not be wrong.
Okay. How would you rank?
I wouldn't have Vrabel above Belichick like B-Man does, but good.
But and the other thing is with Vrabel is
aura. Or Bill Belichick is the same aura as Parcells. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, but then the thing is, Belichick, what's he going to be? Like, he's going to chase he chased the all-time wins record. But like,
okay, here's a question for you. If you gave Bill Belichick this team starting week 1, how many wins would you have?
I don't know. But I because the thing is, he never
answer the question. This season, week 1, the same team we have now with Bill Belichick. How many games did he win?
Maybe 11.
So wait, they were making the playoffs then?
Wait.
Isn't the goal to make the playoffs? Your goal is to make the playoffs. What's your goal to make the playoffs just now?
I was going to say that's the best case scenario.
Bro. You've got to be, bro. You just dug your own hole. Did he not just dig his own hole prime time?
Upstairs.
Did he not?
No, look. Who has a better how? Because the thing is,
it was a simple question. Give Belichick this team how many wins? You just said 11. 11 wins put you in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. You got a chance to win a Super Bowl then. Isn't that all we want?
But I'm going to say this here. But it doesn't matter. The point is that he was.
It does matter. Playoffs do matter. You just told me they do.
He was never going to take this job anyway.
We don't know.
Come on,
dude.
What makes you so certain that he wouldn't have taken this job when there were no other NFL jobs available to him and he actually went to college?
Because like that, he hates this. He hates Woody Johnson. He hates this team with a passion unlike
And it might have been the only job that was available to him to go chase Shula's record and win a Super Bowl without Brady, which obviously means a shit ton to him.
Like I said, I think he did it because I don't think he would have taken this job. Like I can't.
Why not take the interview though?
I'm not
taking the job or not. Why not take the interview?
And look, here's the thing. I'm not the only one who thinks this. There's a lot of Jets fandom. A lot of Jets.
I don't give a shit what other people think. I want to know what you think.
I don't think he would take. I think it's just gossip. I think it was gossip thrown out there to make the Jets look bad.
How is it gossip when 5 different reporters said he reached out to Tannenbaum? That's a fact. Everybody's reported it.
Like I said, yeah, but he reached out to Tannenbaum to make the Jets look bad.
I give up. Have a good night, man. That makes absolutely no sense to me. It doesn't. I mean, I like joking around and shit like that, but some of the stuff I'm just over it. Like I'm tired of hearing the shit. It doesn't make any sense. Like
that was his last dig at the Jets before he leaves the NFL and goes to the college ranks. Yeah, let me put out a false narrative that I might have been interested in it. Like I don't think that makes any sense.
You wanted chaos, dude. I didn't want to take that call. I blame this all on you.
That's my bad. You're right.
I try to let him just speak and share his thoughts, and this is what you made me do.
Yeah, that's my bad. I'm sorry.
This is some bullshit. It's what? 8:41. 8:41. You have me like this now.
We need to steady the ship.
This is what you do. You created this monster now. Now that I'm mad the rest of the night, I'm going to attack everybody, and it's your fault.
What? Listen, I looked at the chat. I figured there was, possibly multiple people that could have brought chaos. I didn't know you were going to go V-Man first call. Sometimes Bubs brings the chaos. I mean,
Oh, this is just I can't. 3
I
more
thought
games.
we might have had an unhinged, random man tonight because the tank is over. I didn't know which direction you were going in with chaos.
No, I mean, we need a voice of reason here. Let's see. Who's our voice of reason? Let's go. All right. There's a voice of reason.
I'm afraid to talk.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just afraid
Adam.
to say anything at this point.
What? I mean, we're the best 4-10 team in football, Afram. Run it back. Let's go. We're just a GM and coach away.
Hello, Armand. He always says hi.
Now he's doing shout outs. What are we doing
Oh,
here?
he put out there. He said
He didn't say hi to both
I'm going to say hi back.
He didn't say hi to us. He literally didn't say hi to us. He said hi to everybody else.
No.
I'm afraid to say anything to you because you're coughing and you're agitated and you're fighting left and right.
What am I fighting about? I take a day. See what Afram, this is how I do things. Instead of spending all day on X shooting out ridiculous fucking tweets and hot takes, I save it for the show. I see Primetime thanks me if I see all the content for the show and not just chasing subscribers all day on Twitter. That's all.
Maybe you should have taken it out there and then you would have been more.
No, this is much more fun.
I like this format better, especially while Sam Darnold's playing well.
Well, he's got a better team. Oh, boy.
Tyson left us.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Maybe he disconnected
He had
or
enough.
lost his internet.
Oh, he's back. Hold on.
Hit the wrong button. I was trying to mess with the chat. I'm like, son of a bitch.
A real pro. Good job.
Listen, man, I don't get paid for this shit.
I know.
So Afram, share your thoughts on this wonderful victory Monday. We beat the Jaguars in scintillation, this exciting fashion.
You said it. Yeah, players are not going to tank, but we all want. Well, I know I wanted them to lose because I'm looking for.
You're not a real fan.
The future. Okay, because these games really, what do they gain you? I mean, yeah, you like to see a team win, but you have to, you got to decide which is better. You get a high draft pick, you could do more with it than a low one. You could trade down and get more picks that way.
Is a high draft pick more important than young guys playing well, though?
Well, the young guys can play well and still lose.
Competitive losses.
Yeah, just like the previous games that they played well, and they
yes,
still lost.
Like playing like they played yesterday and losing that game would have been the jackpot. Everybody played great and you lost.
Exactly. You enjoyed the game. If they would have lost, you wouldn't have been too upset. You know, and you are playing one of the worst teams in the league. So see what they do against the Rams. They D-Rock.
Today is the perfect example of winning being a great deodorant. Today is the best example. There are Jet fans that have been waiting a month for a win to say, I told you we're great. Look how great we are.
I understand we've lost so much that seeing a win really, we look forward to it. But does it change anything? We still don't have a GM. We still don't have a head coach. We don't know what's coming in. We don't know where Woody stands. We don't know if he pushes Rodgers, because if Rodgers plays well, there's a good chance Woody, And the worst scenario, I don't think it's going to happen. Hold on. The worst scenario.
As much as I want Rodgers back, that can't happen though. Woody Johnson dictating
what can't and what will are two different things.
That is what's going to bury this organization. Though, if they go down that path where Woody Johnson is trying to dictate to his GM,
you can scream high to the heavens. It's still one guy who owns this team.
Yep.
Okay. And if Rodgers wants to come back, there's multiple ways. And my biggest fear is he says to Woody, "Hey, look, I know you need more players. How about if I cut my salary a little bit more so you get an extra player?" And now that money comes back to him. I doubt if he does it, but that scenario could be out there. You think Woody wouldn't take that money back?
Yep.
You think Rodgers is giving back money?
Huh?
He already reworked his contract.
I understand.
Yeah, but you also got to keep in mind to bring back both Devontae and Rodgers. While it may sound great, the cap ramifications are enormous, dude. For the years after that, listen. You guys want to play. Your best friends want to come back and play together. Restructure, rework something, because you can't have a $70 million cap hit in 2 years.
Exactly.
That's insane.
But it's going to be bottom line. We'll know if the GM has the cojones and lays down the law. If he says Rodgers has to go, or I'm running this team. The other thing is, whoever gets interviewed, then you start hearing rumors, or you hear, "Oh, well, I'm taking my name out of the running."
Bingo.
You know that he was told that this is the way we want things.
You'll see that in the next 2 weeks.
Once we get one of those,
we know it.
Rodgers is coming back.
Yep, I completely agree. I completely agree. That is when because all the interviews are starting now. If guys start taking their name out of the hat, something's not where it's supposed to be.
I decided not to go this route. I'm going to go to the Don't you hear that? You know that.
Completely agree.
Woody has put his foot down. So you got to keep Rodgers and this guy and this guy. Okay. He's already laying the law. He's already stopped giving up on the team.
Here you go.
His control.
Would you rather Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins?
Neither.
No, you got to pick one.
Well, who would you go with then?
No, who do you want? Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins? Which one would you want?
At this point, you just stay with Rodgers because he's played with the team long enough.
I would go Rodgers just for the chemistry aspect.
If you give me those, this culture is not going to change until you get somebody with the reputation. And I agree with you. It needs no new guys. It has not worked for us. You need someone that's established, because there's some trust with the players that you've picked a guy who's done this before.
But you're talking about a general manager or the coach?
Both. Yeah, it's got to be both, because the coach gives you the sense that he's going to put together a good coaching staff. That's big with these guys, because you could tell these guys know who the incompetent guys are on this coaching staff, which is probably most of them.
The whole freaking team.
There's going to be a trust there that this guy who's had success, knows coaching, has a reputation in the league. He can pull guys, especially a GM is also the guy who can, if he's got connections, can pull good coordinators in.
Well, it's got to be a good package plan, man, where both guys are respected, both guys buy into the same system, have the same vision, and have a good reputation across the NFL.
Both respect each other and learn to work together, and they have the same common goal: how to run this team and what players they want, what schemes they want to do. They have to be in line with one another, and we're going to have to rely on these guys to do that. But screaming up to the top of your lungs is that, because bottom line, we want all this, but there's one guy that we have to hope does it. That's the bottom line.
No, there's the games like yesterday are a blessing and a curse. They're a blessing because you're seeing Aaron Rodgers play at his best. The curse could be is that Woody Johnson becomes infatuated again and says, you know what? Ticket sales, dollar sign, jersey sales. This is my guy. He has to come back next year. And that's going to completely fuck up this whole operation again.
Yeah.
And Tyson,
we'll
you said
see how he does against the Rams.
We won't even know if the GM hire and the coaching hire is simply made because he agreed that, he would take on Rodgers for a year. We're never going to know that.
Yep.
Well, I think, like I said earlier, if you get guys that, take the name out of the running,
that's going to get leaked.
Something was
It'll
said.
get leaked, dude. I guarantee it'll get leaked.
Yeah, that's the biggest fear. That's when you know that nothing's going to change.
Yep. Completely agree.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing becomes something we haven't even talked about is just say this general manager coach are like, yeah, we want to bring Rodgers back. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to take a month to think about it. That's when you start being like, now what do you do? Because while you're sitting here, it's like, and that he literally said he's going to do that. When the season's over, it takes a month to go away and think about if he wants to play. If the Jets want him back, he'll consider it. His words, not mine. So you may find a guy to say, you know what? We want to bring him back. He may say, you know what? I went 6-10 this year, 6-11. I'm good.
We also have to consider another thing, that a good candidate, really good candidate, who doesn't get a second interview, means he laid the law down to Woody and said, this is where I'm going to have the full control. And they talked, and then Woody said, no, I'm not giving full control to this guy. That's an excellent point, because there's guys in this front office that could be like, I want them all replaced, dude. Like literally say, you know what, scouting staff, scouting department, bring in all your guys. And don't say you have to inherit. No. I want you to say what you think is best is what we do. And if they don't do that, people are going to be like, here's the keys. Do what you want.
Exactly.
Okay, it's on you. Because what he's been doing has not worked. Until he realizes that, it's not going to change. And that's, there's a lot of fears there. And that's until we see some progress, some positive progress, you're going to have in the back of your mind, it's going to be the same old shit.
All right. So you're from the general manager. You just got hired. Congratulations. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
What is your plan?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, well, I give you a 6-year deal because I like you a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Now, what is your vision for Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers? Would you bring them back next year?
I can't afford them.
So what's your plan?
I mean, Rodgers has the cap hit anyway.
Well, if him playing next year makes it worse.
2 years. I mean, you could still spread it over 2 years.
Yeah.
But still
I believe if you cut him in post June 1st, he's like only a $14 million hit.
Then next year it's a little bit more, but it's a little more tolerable. He plays next year, it's like the numbers are crazy.
Yeah, exactly. You got to look at the best scenario with him as far as the money. I don't care. As long as I get a contract, they could fire me as long as I get guaranteed money.
That's what I'm saying. Give me a 6-year deal for like $10 million a year. You can fire me in 2 years. I get paid for 4. I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. It's I'm hearing also rumors that they're going to look for a coach at the same time as the GM. I'm hoping that's not.
That is my biggest pet peeve. That is the thing that pisses me off the most, is interviewing coaches before your general manager's in place.
Yeah.
That would be McCagnon and Bowles again.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It'd be ass backwards.
It's ass backwards. You're basically telling the GM, you're
saying, we like this guy. You got to interview him because we like this guy.
Exactly. So basically,
and usually every GM has 3 or 4 guys he wants to bring himself.
So now you're back to back to square one. I'm still in control of this team. You do what we tell you to.
He's a GM for 5 seconds and he already can't answer questions. This job's too much for you, man.
No. That's a typical Jet move. I don't want to give you answers.
No, you gotta go.
I fit right in. I fit perfect.
We're seeing you down to Jacksonville.
I'm just gonna have to look at the film and basically,
No, you gotta say hard look. You gotta take a hard look at the film.
A hard look at the team. Once we watch some film, we'll sit together and figure out what's going on and fix it.
You know how much we don't care. We're not even going over Ulbricht's horrific time management yesterday. We're not even caring about that. That's how much we're over this team. We're discussing the future.
You know what about
Rodgers
that
said
one?
if it was like a
I
meaningful
think he
game,
was
they
so
wouldn't have done it that
worried.
way. I'm like,
I think he was so worried that he wasn't going to score that he took the first shot and just take the and hope for the best.
He's
You
so
know?
clueless, dude. Ulbrich has no idea what he's doing. I don't even care. Like, I don't even feel. I feel bad for the guy. He's like
I do too, because
he's just like a punching bag at this
doing two
point.
jobs there. He's running the defense and he's got to run the whole team.
He's not really doing
you
any
know?
jobs well, but he's just there. He's on the sideline
what-
standing
Yeah,
there.
no,
what's sad is that
he's-
he's probably never going to get another head coaching opportunity after this.
No,
yeah,
be a
Listen.
linebacker coach.
he might get a defensive coordinator. Who knows?
Not sure.
You hope for the best. He's a he's a good guy. He's not he's not like what's his name, the offensive line coach. No
I don't know.
one likes
Prime
him.
time. I hired from 5 minutes ago. I'm already regretting my decision. I'm gonna rescind
Hey.
the contract. This is
It's already signed.
nope. No guaranteed money.
I'm gonna spend that money so well.
This is the NFL. It's called not for long. You're out.
You're so mean today. What's going on?
I don't
with
care. I hate
What's
Victory
going on
Mondays
with
more.
you?
4 and
You're
10.
reading Twitter too long.
I'm not, dude. I'm not on Twitter at all. I thought
No, you just mentioned it earlier.
I think
No,
it, was
I-
Steve- it must have been Steve's tweet this morning that
At
did it.
5:30 in the morning. Happy Victory Monday. So happy to be here. Great. Go team go. But it was all, but the funny thing was, we predicted this before the game started yesterday. What did I tell
Yeah.
you, prime time? The
Yeah.
Jets are going to win this game. They're going to play very well. And all day tomorrow, it's going to be one big social media blast about bring back Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. We're great. Give him a chance. Everything is awful. It's wonderful.
Well, in fairness, I
Well,
was saying bring back Aaron Rodgers before the victory. So nothing
but then
really changed with me. So
But all they need was like people are just waiting the weeds for that one win to be like, I told you so.
They-
We're going to ignore all the other losses, but today's the game that we're going to tell you I told you so.
Defense was letting yards
they're
left and
terrible.
right. You would thought that Jones was going. Jones lost that game, overthrown because they
They
were
give
moving
over-
that ball.
It was like over 400 yards to one of the worst offenses in football.
Yeah,
Terrible.
and he was moving. He could have tied that game or whatever, won that game. He made a mistake, but they were moving that ball. They were running on them. They were passing on them. It was very hard to stop. They just didn't. That defense just needs some rework, but they're not stopping anybody.
They need a
And
whole
wait
new
till they-
scheme, a whole new mindset. They need a whole new defensive line. Minus.
Well, they're going
Quinn
to
and
stop the
Tremaine.
Rams. That's for sure.
Oh, the Rams are going to just put it on. Oh,
The Rams are going to roll all over them
or revenge game. Get
offensively.
ready
That's
for
for
it.
sure.
Well, the
we'll
floor
see
is
now
gonna
what
be
happens. What happens in that game, and see what the attitudes change.
when Rodgers is like 10 of 25 for 110 yards, 2 picks, and the team gets their asses beat.
Yep. Where are they here or?
It's here.
Oh,
No more sunny games, my friend. Now we're back to reality.
In an empty
Now you're going to
network
get more
game.
people in the stands because of this last game.
That's right. I think Primetime's going. He told me he's got
I'm
his
not
Rodgers.
going. I'm not going. If my Rodgers jersey shows up before Sunday, maybe I would change my mind.
Bro, I got 3 of them for you. I'm gonna overnight that shit then.
Three. You're a lucky man.
No, it wasn't me, man. Somebody was very generous, sent us a bunch of jerseys and helmets and stuff. So he quit. He literally gave up on the Jets. He said, "I'm
That's
so
it.
done."
That's it.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, don't do this. I'm like, we'll pay for it. If you don't want, he's like, no. He's like, you guys entertained me for all these years. I want to give it to you. I'm like, all right. I'm like, you sure? Like, I'll pay for the shipping.
Can you send me his address so I can write him a letter to try to talk him not to give up yet?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
And I'd like to send him something also.
Hey, listen, how long has he been watching?
So I guess since like the Gase years, he's been through it all. He's just fed up.
Years. That's not been too long.
Well, that's not that long.
But he's been watching us. He's been a long.
No, I'm saying how
he's
long
been
has
like
he
a
been
life-
watching the Jets?
No, he sent like actually a really cool picture of like Corbett with the Keyshawn catch where the flashlight catch when he got that. He sent like a nice autograph clip of that. Like he sent nice stuff.
I've been watching since Walt Michael days. I'm still a Jet fan.
See, you're a real fan. You're
Did
rooting.
you watch the 30 for 30?
No, I have not watched that yet.
He's not a real fan. If you root for the
I
tank,
haven't
you're not a
watched
real
it yet.
fan.
Doesn't mean I'm sorry. Work gets in my way. I'm sorry. I should take a sabbatical just to go watch 30 and 30.
I mean, it's just a matter of priorities, bro.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
No, I'm busy.
Yeah. It's such a.
From have a good night. I have to say that.
I'm hoping you have a good night because you're really.
No, I just want to let you know you've been fired as general manager.
Oh, that's fine. That's okay. That's
okay.
That's
Have a good
okay.
night, man.
Belichick.
Thank you.
Have a good night, man.
Have a good night.
I had to fire him, dude. He melted within
Ask the
seconds.
questions, You're right.
We ask honest questions. All right. Next guy's gonna get fired.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. What's up?
Shut up, bub.
Another Victory Monday, another big culture changing win, just like the Browns and Browns and Rams in 2020, Patriots last year. It's what we do best.
We are back.
Yeah. So back. 7-10. Here we come.
Absolutely.
We're running the table.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah, definitely. Carry that right into next season.
This is killer pride time. He's ready to kill me at this point. He's like an hour in. He's just ready to kill me.
Yeah,
I knew you expected it, though. I know he expected it because he knew.
I knew what to expect tonight. We've been down this road many times before. I knew what to expect.
Arguing over meaningless wins in December is like a Jets tradition at this point.
Yeah. And then when they had their chance at meaningful games in December in 2022, they choked those away.
Yep, of course.
So that's just how it rolls sometimes, or all the time. But I mean, at least the games are entertaining. At least we're seeing the young guys play well. Last week you saw Zay Davis have a good game. Braylon Allen this week was Olu. Olu looks really good. At least that's a positive for the next GM and next coach. You feel like you have your new DeBrickashaw and Mangold combo there with Tittman and Olu. He's awesome. He looks great. And I think it's finally nice to at least go into the offseason knowing that there is somewhat there's actually 4 guys that we have set on the offensive line. For the last 4 or 5 years now, we've gone into the offseason 2 to 3 new offensive linemen. Left tackle's been a revolving door. So it's at least for the next GM and the next head coach, you've got a solidified 4 guys that are all under 27 years old. Simpson's having a career year. He's been great. He's under contract. Obviously, AVT if he gets stay healthy. So that's a positive. And Moses is just he's a warrior still playing.
All right, so
this team.
I fired Afram because I had no choice. He's clearly not. It's in over his head. He can't handle the media. So now, Bubs, you've been hired. Congratulations. I'm giving you only a 5-year deal because you're younger. Afram's a little bit older. I got to get you're a little less experienced. What is your plan for Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers?
I personally think they'll probably end up just being a package deal because Devontae came here. But I would try. This is what I would do.
Okay.
I'm not a big Rodgers guy. I would try and keep Devontae and move on from Rodgers.
That's not going to happen.
I think they'd be a package, but I don't see that happening.
So then you're the general manager. You want Rodgers, you said, can go. You want to kind of bring Devontae back, but he gives you anything. You're trading him, getting rid of him, cutting him?
Well, I mean, yeah, if he doesn't want to be here, I'd try and get as much value as I can.
Okay.
For him.
So
I wouldn't just outright cut him. You could trade for him. You could trade him. Trade him to where Rodgers is going. Package him at that point.
All right. So are there any other power moves you would make with the roster?
I mean, I would draft. I would draft a quarterback, have him develop.
What round?
Probably start Tyrod. I mean,
hold on. What round quarterback are you looking at? In what round of the draft?
I mean, it depends on where they finish. This draft class is outside of Cam Ward and Shadur. You don't love it. And now Drew Aller's going back. They'll probably look more day 2 at this point. If you're sitting like pick 10 or 11, like Jackson Dart doesn't move the needle there. Jalen Milroe, I don't love him. So I don't think it's worth it. I think you're better off going after a Mason Graham or a wide receiver, somebody like that. At pick 8 or 9, similar to what you did last year with Olu, and then going more your Jordan Travis route in day 2, day 3. Use your second on a dart, like no pun intended, but those dart throws like a dart, a Milroe, those guys fall.
My early review is he's already better than Afram. I'm already impressed by Mike.
Very well spoken, clear and concise plan.
He has a plan. He broke down some players. Afram gave us fluff. He was just like trying to bullshit his way through the job interview.
Wait though, so your veteran starting quarterback to enter the season would be Tyrod Taylor?
I would have like a 3. I would have Tyrod, Travis, and you have the rookie and maybe one other veteran, but most likely those 3. And then you roll with Tyrod halfway through the season-ish. If wherever you're at, maybe then you go to the rookie, however that ends up playing out, depending on what 2025, how it looks like the success-wise.
Not a terrible idea. You saw what happened with Bo Nix to get him time. I mean,
yeah.
The one thing that with Jordan Travis is interesting though is like obviously he wasn't going to play this year, but you heard he had setbacks too, where it's like, all right, we had high hopes from like how much are these setbacks? Will he be ready for next year's training camp? Can he do the offseason program? Like that's the one thing I'm really curious about with Jordan Travis.
Yeah. I wish he was healthy because this would be the perfect time to play him this time. Like benching Rodgers, you see if Tyrod could have created a spark, but like we don't need to see what Tyrod is. We know what Tyrod is.
To break team records. You can't bench him.
No, I'm saying like if they were going to, remember when the report came out after the bye week?
Team record.
They thought about benching him.
Who the hell's be proud of team records with the Jets with the shittiest quarterback for the last 20 years?
Patrick's still holding the touchdown record.
Like the Jets team records from a journeyman quarterback. What a joke. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Put him in the Ring of Honor in 5 years.
You break team records in a 5-12 season. Congratulations.
That's actually a good. Do you think they would put him in the Ring of Honor if he broke the touchdown and yards record?
Oh, could you imagine?
It wouldn't surprise
I
me.
think they would.
I wouldn't be surprised.
For playing 1 year?
I think they would.
I don't think they would. Absolutely not.
Because of his career and the fact that he's in their record.
His
book,
career
I think
wasn't
they would do
here.
that. I think they would do that.
How can you put him against the guys like?
I'm not saying I would. I think they would do it.
Oh my God.
I mean, technically, if you're going off of that logic, though, you would put Fitzpatrick in there because at least he had a winning season.
Yeah, but Fitzpatrick didn't have the kind of career that Rodgers had. They
put
could
somebody in the Ring of Honor with a 5-12 season.
Hall of Famer in our Ring of Honor.
That would be such a money.
I mean, it
grab.
would be a very Jet thing to do.
It would be
So that's why it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't see that happening.
almost like selling wine.
Yeah, the wine slip.
Jets on court.
That's another thing I would do if I was GM. Stop giving out the wine slips.
All right. So you
Well,
talked about Rodgers and
yeah.
Adams, offensive line. So what do you think about defense? Any big moves you'd make? Any guys any power moves you'd make?
No, like I said, I think Mason Graham would be ideal if you're going to go through the draft from a defensive line perspective. The pair of Quinn, and they desperately need somebody. DJ Reed, I think, walks. I think he's going to get huge money elsewhere.
Agree.
Carter's had a disappointing season injury wise. It feels like every week something's popping up. They need 2 new safeties. They need to invest a little bit more in the safety. The last couple seasons they're just going kind of on these flyers. Like Whitehead, Joyner was terrible. Mills has actually been solid. Surprisingly, he's probably been the best safety, but you need to completely restock safety position. Like Chuck Clark on that 1-year deal isn't really working. You need to invest there, pay a decent amount for a guy. I think you can't just go off of these 1-year rentals. It doesn't work. Linebacker wise, I think Sherwood has done well this year. I would bring him back. I'm definitely open to bringing Sherwood back. Quincy Williams is really solid.
But the thing is, you got to remember too, is like, what kind of defense are we running? You're running a 3-4, 4-3, like that all plays. Remember when Mangini, like the Jets had Vilma. Vilma was too small. Like it kind of depends on what kind of defense you bring in here.
Yeah.
Let's also remember Quincy signed a 3-year, $20 or $21 million deal. He's on the last year of that contract. I'm sure he's going to want to tear that shit up and sign something new. So
It depends on how they're going to put him in their new system. A lot of it depends on that.
And I would be open to just like you'd have Sauce. I don't think they're going to trade Sauce. You have Sauce. You have Michael Carter. I would be open to picking up a veteran on like a 1 to 2 year contract.
Why not Eccles?
I like Eccles.
I mean, you could go. No, I'm saying Eccles is fine, but just to have an insurance policy. Stiggers played his first game. Like if you're one Eccles injury away then from being down to like Stiggers and JBC. So I wouldn't be opposed to bringing just like a 1-year rental there just to add some insurance there. But I'd be down. I mean, I'd be open to Eccles. I think Eccles eventually, that was kind of the plan going into this year is you paid either Carter or Reed. You had to make a decision between the two. They chose Carter at slot. So DJ Reed, I just think the money wise, he's going to be trying to get number 1 money elsewhere. It's not going to happen here, especially if they do plan on paying Sauce. So Eccles would be the perfect rental.
So you've done pretty good so far. You're acing this interview so far, but now let's get to the money question. Who is your coach? Give me your top 3 coaching candidates that you as general manager bring in here.
Top 3, Vrabel's my 1, Flores would be my 2, and then you get into like the
No. We're not getting into anything. You're telling me your top 3. We're not. This is no negotiations here.
It would be like Flores or Vrabel, Flores. I like Munkin at 3. Outside of that, you get into like the Ben Johnsons. I like Ben Johnson. I just think a first guy is going to get
So tell me why you like Flores, because Brian or Kevin hates him.
I mean I don't think he was that bad in Miami.
So now we're just going with not bad.
Well, I think I think he learned from his mistakes. You see what he's done in Minnesota. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Not as a head coach.
No, he didn't. I agree, but you see, I mean, you see what he's a proven guy. I just want a guy that's done it.
So wait a minute, you're bombing the interview right now. You're absolutely bombing.
Well, he's not proven from a success perspective.
Is he? Is he won?
Well, no, like
He won what?
He hasn't won like
football games.
He won what?
Yeah, but I'm talking about like in terms of like overall body of work. It's not like he's been to the playoffs 3 times that, but in terms of like proving he's actually been there for 3 years, had the 10-win season. I forget which exact year that was.
Yep.
Like I would take Flores over Kingsbury in terms of like if you're talking about those former coaches. Because Kingsbury's teams always collapse second half. And we're seeing that kind of now with Washington. But it'd be Vrabel. And then
all right, so hold on. I have an interesting stat. So Tyson, you say that Brian Flores won, correct?
Back-to-back winning seasons for the first time in a long time for the Jets.
Okay, so Brian Flores is a winning coach, correct?
No, I never said that. I said I knew he's 24 and 25. I said he won.
He's won games, correct? As a head coach, he's won games. So 24 and 25 as a head coach compared to Adam Gase during his Dolphins tenure, who was 23 and 25.
So what?
What's the fucking difference?
So in that scenario, you would never in that scenario the Patriots would never hire Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was a losing coach of the Browns.
Not doing it.
So do we want to go through that? Do you want to go through Brian Vrabel or Mike Vrabel's fucking coaching? How things ended up with him?
And his 5 division titles or whatever it is that he's won?
But you can go by how it ended or how we started. How are we gonna do this?
One guy actually made the playoffs year after year. The other,
and then when they made the playoffs, then what happened?
Seriously?
Yeah.
One guy didn't even get there. The other guy gets there 5 years in a row, and we're gonna knock that? Come on.
So now the goal is just to get there. So you like Mike McCarthy then? You're like a Mike McCarthy guy.
He can't learn from his playoff failures, right?
So then based on what you're saying, Mike McCarthy's your guy. You're Mike McCarthy's guy.
Flores can learn from not making the playoffs. Vrabel can't learn from making the playoffs. Is what you're
Mike
telling
McCarthy
me.
is your best candidate.
Definitely not.
Dude, you look at your still. Look
McCarthy-
at all the winning he's done.
He got his second chance with the Cowboys, and he failed.
And he's making the playoffs. Look at all the games he's doing with the Cowboys.
I just don't like McCarthy.
McCarthy's here.
Based on what you told me, that's your best candidate.
I just don't like McCarthy.
McCarthy's here if Rodgers tells Woody, I'm running this thing.
Oh, I don't
That
think
would
like
be.
each other. I don't think. Maybe they do.
Wait,
That would
so
be a disaster.
prime time, who's your favorite?
Head coach?
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would have taken that interview first off with Belichick.
Well,
which
yeah,
obviously is
but like
irrelevant now.
still
I
open.
would have to put Vrabel right at the top right now. As far as proven success, who are you going to get right now that's better than him, other than maybe Gruden, who a lot of people seem to think that's, he's kind of past his prime. He's a little more washed up, hasn't done it recently. If you're looking for somebody a little bit more recent that's had success, that would be him.
And same thing with you, Tyson.
I mean, I don't think Vrabel's coming here. So
you like Flores?
I like Flores. I want a established coach.
Yeah,
so,
same. And I think
if Vrabel was willing to
GM
come
as
here,
well.
would you still take Flores over him though?
No, I like Vrabel better than Flores, but I don't think I think Vrabel's off the table. I think it's just not happening.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
And unlike a lot of people, I'm not opposed to John Gruden either.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'd be fine with that.
I'd have no problem with that. I'd take that big swing and go for it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's just me personally. I don't give a shit about what happened in the past. He's a big time personality with I think he'd be fine.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't want a first-time head coach, but Aaron Glenn, I would not be opposed to that just because he's been here. He saw the organization when they had Kotite and then saw it flip around when they got Parcells. I think that maybe he could use that experience as a head coach to, kind of turn things around here, but I don't know.
What would be your least favorite hire? Like any guy on your list that like you don't want at all? I've got like 2.
Who are they?
I want nothing to do with Matt Nagy because I saw his name pop up, and I want nothing to do with Arthur Smith. I saw his name come up as well.
But you know what's funny? Arthur Smith is the guy the Jets like.
Yeah, well, Saleh wanted him over Hackett.
They've interviewed him a couple times now. He's definitely on their radar.
He is. But if they take Arthur Smith over like Vrabel, oh my God.
I mean,
brutal.
We'll see. We're gonna
He
see.
might want to work with Rodgers. That might be his meal ticket.
But it's also what other jobs are going to be asking for him too. Like what other teams are want to interview him. And you compare like who the general. Like he always said he wants an established general manager, and the quarterback helps too. If you get a team with a better general manager and a younger quarterback, I mean, I'd go there.
Yeah. You guys like Dimitrov? Maybe.
I do.
I don't hate it.
Solid.
I'm not going to get excited. I think over any GM.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what
yeah,
you throw at me, whether it's Agnew or Dimitrov or Dorsey. It's proven.
We're all broken. I think we're done saying we're going to win 10 games.
Well, I mean, it's because you can give me whatever name you want. I'm interested in their opening press conference, their vision for the team, who they hire, what the plan goes by, and then how they handle the roster initially, starting with Aaron Rodgers. That's what I want to hear. Like, like we're bringing Rodgers back, we're restructuring his contract, we're doing this. Like, they got to come out just firing with knowing what the hell they're doing because free agency's around the corner. It's not like you're going to lose how many weeks doing this whole interviewing process, and then boom, free agency's going to be here.
Yeah. And I will also say this too I know we've talked about this a lot. Rodgers, they've got to figure what the heck he's going to do. He can't take this none of this 2-month darkness retreat hiatus. Come back at the end of February and say, "Oh, I'm playing." None of that.
I mean, Primetime's been on a 1-month darkness hiatus already.
At least it's in season though.
I'm making cheese with it.
He'll make the adjustment. We already got more adjustments here. We got Primetime on the left, Tyson on the right. More adjustments than the Jets have made all year.
It's true.
So
That's why they won yesterday. We switched sides. I didn't even think of that.
True.
that is true. Who knew that?
I think you've done a much better job than Afram. So I'm gonna keep you on the candidate list. If you get an offer in the email, that means you got the job. So you know.
We got to do a second round of interviews. I mean,
Yeah, that's true too.
That is true.
you can't just hire him off
in-person
first
interviews.
interview. That would be amateur shit.
We got to do it after the loss next week when I'm really pissed off. Have a good night, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Have a good one.
Dude. He did much better. He did much better than friggin' Afram. He's prepared. He's gonna be able to handle this hotness around here.
He had like 6 quarterback names ready to go.
We got a tank fan.
Oh no.
How y'all doing?
What's going on?
Are you disappointed they won?
Yeah, I could care less if they would have won or lost. Draft pick would have been. I mean, they could have did what they did before they hired Gase, or when Gase was the head coach, went against the Rams. Oh snap, we got the 6th pick. I mean, first off, I just want to say, just the fact that we had a chance at Belichick was probably a miracle within itself, and whatever happened in that situation to where we didn't hire him, I'm looking at Drew Woody Johnson, because it seems to me your name keeps on being the reason why we can't get the great coaches of this era, man. But with all due, you know, we gotta move on. He's with North Carolina. Hey, more power to them.
Yep.
I could care whether or less they win or not, because there's definitely better teams in the ACC. But
you want to see if he can get guys like Vrabel or Flores in for interviews. But if all these like established guys don't come here, then you're like, all right. Then you start wondering like what the reputation of the Jets is.
So, am I the next person that's supposed to be the pretend GM?
No, now you're calling it a pretend job. Now you're insulting.
But not a pretend job, but just
That's no way to start the interview.
You start the interview by insulting us. We're trying to have an open conversation. This is how the shit starts.
I just wanted to know, just for starters. But
no. See, now we already fired Afram. Bubs is on double probation because his kind of ended kind of awkwardly. So tell us your plan for Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Well, you have to start by talking with both of them. I mean, Rodgers, he's too unpredictable. The past few years, man, I'll be honest with you. You know, he held Green Bay out on the leash until he got what he wanted. So I'm talking to Rodgers first, because that's
what are
the
you telling him?
I'm talking to him, and I'm going to say, what is your plan? And if he
tells you, I'll let you know in a month.
Yeah, like what's your plan? Because I keep on hearing the fact of June 7th or June.
No, but Primetime just gave you. He just told you your answer. Primetime just gave you the answer. He said, "I'll talk to you in a month. Come to me in a month." Then what do you do, Mr. General Manager?
He gotta go. Because unpredictability. He did the same thing in Green Bay, and that's in Green Bay. You know, Green Bay had to move on from that, right? Then Then after that, you know, we'll deal with that situation. Either trade him or he'll decide to retire. Then I'm going to Devontae. Devontae, what you want to do? Do you want to win, or do you want to, you know, establish something here once we hire the head coach? Because
Devontae probably just wants his $37 million.
That's exactly what he wants.
Then we'll give it. Then we'll give it to him, because especially with Rodgers gone, you know, we'll definitely have the money for that. And then here's the crazy thing.
Uh-oh.
Then I'm talking to Sauce, because man, I'm looking over in Sauce's direction, because definitely for a fact, you know, I'm gonna say, like, what happened, man? I mean,
coaching.
I get it. He was terrible the first half of the year, but he's also kind of gotten back to form these last 4 to 5 weeks, on top of 2 All-Pro seasons to start his career. I mean,
I think he's a victim of terrible coaching.
I think so too.
I would say that as well. And then
No,
what I would
that's
do,
not what you said. You said, no, you can't waffle. This is a goddamn interview. You told us you're giving a look at him, and we just said that we think he's a victim
I
of coaching.
mean, I would say, talk to him. That's
No,
what
but
the
listen,
GM, that's
no.
what I would do.
You're
as
the
the
general
GM.
manager. You're gonna be talking to everybody. We're gonna lose all our
You
free
know.
agents. You have to have a plan. I'm trading Sauce. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You're too
I-
nice, man. You can't handle the New York market. We're gonna eat you alive.
But when you talk to him, what are you looking for him to say to you? Like that he wants to stay here, that he was injured this season? Like what kind of response are you looking for from him?
Exactly.
I'm trying to like and I'm not saying do this with every single person, but I'm saying have like a real conversation with your stars, like try to figure out like what was it was it you didn't want to be here, or was it the coaching? Because that
You
could
should already
easily
know
be
that as
fixed
general
with my
manager. You should already
coaching.
know that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it also could be the fact of like, dang, they eat me alive, because sometimes being on Twitter can get to you. I mean,
I don't give a
look at
shit.
Kevin
I don't care
Durant.
about Twitter, man. It's like you're looking at Sauce. He had 2 great years. You have this year, which has been mediocre. He saw flashes, but he saw a lot of things that are technique, effort, terrible tackling. Could be injured, who knows? But it's like,
Yeah.
all right, he's on the peak of getting a monumental contract. So do you
Yeah.
want to keep him around, or say, you know what, we're going to pay him God knows how much money to be the top paid corner in football? You're the GM. So when you started this, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to talk to him. Then now you're like, well, we'll have a conversation. Either here
Or do you maybe talk to your head coach first and take a season to evaluate everybody and then make your move from there?
Ryan
What's the
Costello.
rush?
What in the
Yeah,
hell?
you got Costello, at least.
How the hell am I, Elmo? How the hell am I Costello? Seriously?
This is why I like Elmo.
This
Hey.
is some bullshit. I like
Maybe-
Oscar Crouch better.
I'm
anyway.
just saying, maybe I am too, but I'm just trying to.
You're too nice. You're not getting the job.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
fired.
It's just a situation where where my head is at right now, because I'm trying to figure out like is coaching, and then you got look on the field. I mean, look at Michael Clemens. Each damn game of the damn season, 15-yard penalties, he's not getting reprimanded for it. But we already seen what's going on out in San Francisco. I mean, Campbell, he got reprimanded for what he pulled because he didn't want to be.
Jets would have handled that situation.
That's man.
He's probably starting next week, right?
Yeah, of course. He's
Exactly.
back in the league. Yeah.
Cause that, and
You're probably in a social media post. Welcome back.
But that's
Bro.
what I mean. We gotta establish a culture over here, because 49ers already established a culture. Like, bro,
You know,
we
establish the
injured than a
culture of winning.
motherfucker. We got something to play for. Jets didn't have much to play for other than, oh, we beat Jacksonville. So we got the 5th pick, I believe, or the 6th pick. It's just hard to establish.
Listen, man,
Now-
I love you as a caller. You're not getting the job. You're fired as GM. You're out. Have a good night, man.
See you.
Have a good night.
He's out. Not gonna happen.
I kind of agree with him on one thing, though. Just I think the input from the players does matter a little bit. At least the guys that you see as building blocks that, like I said before, have been a part of winning cultures. I do think there's some value in what they have to say about what the problems are, which I think we all know what they are. But I'd like to hear from them.
Surrender, man.
What's up, Surrender Man?
Did you put a bag on your vacuum?
Maybe.
The bug.
It says on it, we suck, but not enough.
Oh my god, the vacuum has a
That's
bag on it.
outstanding. That is outstanding.
It's outstanding.
That might
I
be the
didn't
best
have any
prop you've ever had
full-size
on the
ones. I only had mini ones, so I thought I'd improvise.
That is outstanding. That's my favorite thing I've seen.
That tops the donkey mess. That tops.
That beats everything right there. This is some shit
my
right
God.
here. This is when we know this is meaningless December games.
I mean, they had it. They had it.
I know.
And I'm not like destroyed, because going into this game, even last call, you could tell I knew they were probably gonna win. We all kind of knew the Jaguars are so bad.
Yep.
But the fact that and just for the record, just the fact that all these people are like, oh, Rodgers is back. Did you see that throw? It was the Jaguars.
So what?
They're horrible.
So what?
What do you mean, so what? The Titans almost beat them the other week before. What do you mean? They almost beat them.
They beat one of the worst teams in football. Barely.
But he's showing he still got it. That's the thing.
And
He's showing he still
on
got
that note, listen, I don't want them to win, But like, if they're gonna like go on a streak here, like if Rodgers is gonna prove that like he still has it, the beginning of the season he was hurt. This is the part of the schedule where there's legitimate teams. If he beats the Rams, then the Bills. It's like, okay, maybe. I personally think they're losing out. I don't even think it's even close. I think it's done. Whatever. I think here, I kind of mapped it out.
So yesterday was our Super Bowl?
I mean, it was our chance to get one of the top 2 quarterbacks, because I think the Raiders are gonna win a game or two, and I think we blew it. And
the thing is, I don't even want the top 2 quarterbacks. I just want a top 5 pick to get a great receiver, a great defensive tackle. That's all I want.
At the moment, I see us in the range of 5 to 7 for the pick.
I don't hate that.
It depends. I don't think that's if the Raiders really step it up and they beat the Jaguars and the Titans, and then, but that's what it'll probably be, around 6, 7, whatever. That's me being hopeful. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm defeated. I'm surrendering.
So wait, so you don't want Rodgers or Adams back next year?
I mean, we're not blowing it up. So like, I'm fine. I'm not sure about Rodgers though. I'm fine with Adams. Adams is a legit talented, and you see that with Garrett Wilson, the 1-2 punch.
Under his current contract?
I mean, you got to compete. And if you're going to get rid of Rodgers, that's the 1-2 punch. You saw it. I mean, you see Rodgers going.
You're going to pay Adams $37 million next year?
You're going to pay Rodgers what? $50 million for the next 3-4 years or whatever?
At what point do you say you're bringing them back for what? A 1-year run, and then you look at the financial ramifications of doing that.
Are we talking Rodgers or Adams?
Both of them. Like I get the whole bringing back for the 1-year run, but if you're going to keep Devontae Adams at $37 million, you're crushing your cap. What else primetime doing? It's distracting as hell, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's like the goal of this now isn't just to have one more good year. The goal is sustained success for a long period of time.
The retool.
Right. So, but doing that, you're going to hinder yourself by doing it. It's like, yeah, that's great to have him back. Okay. And then what? Then a year from now, I'm like, holy shit, we got cap problems.
I mean, the alternative isn't horrible. I mean, if you could get, obviously he's still playing at a high level. We kind of saw that. Like,
kind of.
I'm sure there's a way that you can kind of flip him for some pieces if the right trade's there. But I mean, it's just I just thought that was such a great solution to turn around the franchise, and now we're kind of back at this like I've used this term before, the Josh McCown era, where we're just kind of bringing in these washed up, Band-Aid. Like, okay, maybe we'll win like 8 games this year. It's gonna be fun. I don't know. I really don't know. And the head coaching GM job, whatever, that's kind of off to the side now.
Why is it off to the side?
It's off to the side in that, like, we're not getting like the big fish in that sense of like, we're not getting the number one, the Ben Johnson, not that, that was probably a pipe dream, but we're not getting that like great, we're not a great destination. And, having a top 2 pick, that wouldn't have solved everything. It would have helped.
Top 5 pick helps.
Yeah, but even, I don't know. It's just, you just look around the league and you just see like,
you could put a great player next to Quinnen Williams. How can you be mad about that? You have you have an offensive line like 4 to 5 starters. You put a guy next to Quinnen plus Jermaine Johnson coming back, and Will McDonald. Defensive line problems solved.
Listen, it's there.
I could be GM prime time. Why are we interviewing people?
I'm not interviewing for anything.
You're fired too.
I didn't want this job. I'm like Ben Johnson.
One player away. All right, we're close.
Listen, I see the pieces, and we all see the pieces. That's a stupid comment. There's a lot of talent on this roster individually, and there's a room for a retool, but it's such just a thin margin of error that it's just not. I don't know. It's just hard for me as a fan.
What that margin of error is?
Like,
the margin of error is coaching. Coaching is the X factor in all of this. You can make mediocre teams good with great coaching. You can do all this with coaching, man.
Yeah.
That's the X factor in all of this.
I mean, I guess when you look, especially with the past the past head coaches, at least since Rex Ryan, like, yeah, even Rex did it with Mark Sanchez. It's like
there's probably teams now with less talent than the Jets getting better results this year and in this current year.
Look at last year with all the quarterback injuries.
You look, I mean, a great example. I don't know how I'm kind of woozy on the record of how they were in the past, but I know the Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield. I think that's obviously that's like the prime example of what a good coach can do, and or at least like a good system. I don't want to say don't want to prop up Bulls too much, but a good system, culture, great pieces. You see like individual pieces, Mike Evans, Wirfs, the infamous Wirfs pick. By the way, I saw Mekhi Becton wheezing on the sideline for the Eagles. It's peak comedy.
He's played well over there, though.
Yeah, sure. For now.
Why are you hating on him? Dude, the guy, he's resurrected his career at the Eagles. Man. He's doing good there.
If we can't have nice things, they can't either.
Oh
my burn bridges. No, never.
I guess you hate Carl Lawson too.
End it.
And John Franklin Myers.
Listen, this wasn't. I needed a week to regroup, but no, the random man supporters, Matt West. We need Tank Man. We need the Tank Man support. This is horrible.
I think you'll get the support once they lose to the Rams. Then everybody be back again. It's like, oh my God, we saw his
Not me.
I was sitting there like this. Mac Jones going all the way down the field. The second they didn't get that 2-point conversion, I was like, oh, here it comes. Here comes the Jets are gonna get a touchdown, and then they're gonna get a whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Somebody has mentioned Bryce Huff. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good example. Burn all the bridges.
He probably has more sacks than Reddick.
He does.
Reddick was pro Tank. He was helping that choke slam he had going.
What an absolute joke he's been. Do you think he's playing legitimately for money that he's lost and still not playing well, which is just wild.
No, I think he's memeing at this point. Honestly, he's
just trying to stay healthy. He's like, I don't give a shit.
I don't know. This is a much more subdued call. I haven't etten for a while. I got to regroup.
Right. We'll let you.
Right, go eat. I haven't eaten either, so
we'll let you hydrate and rehydrate. Have a good night, man. The Tank will be back this week, I promise.
We'll hope. See ya.
Thanks, later. Have a good night.
Oh my goodness. Embrace the Tank.
Nope.
All right. Your audio is rough on this, man. It's so like
I honestly think my laptop is on its last legs because the last 3 streams in a row, it's crapped out in the last 15 minutes of the show. So I'm on my phone right now.
All right. What's up, man?
Hey guys, hearing your earlier discussion, and I'm pretty much aligned with you, Tyson. And I think the biggest indication is going to be when guys drop out of the process. If they start announcing guys are going to interview, and then guys start backing out, that's going to tell you they've been told to do
100%
Rodgers. And after that game yesterday, what I'm hearing from fans, it really worries the hell out of me because we know Woody loves listening to social media. Oh, look at the game against Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville is like the teams that Zach Wilson faced in 2020 during COVID. I mean, basically, they're a garbage team. Rodgers looked better. Don't get me wrong. You can see that he's not as hurt. Yep. You can see the things that, all year he's been hurting. And I heard one thing that was really interesting. They were quoting an orthopedic surgeon who said that Rodgers, when he did that rush to come back, really may have done himself damage, that it causes Achilles not to fully heal. Yep. And that may explain why he was so bad this year. I think that, he tried, and I'm not sure he came back for the Jets if it wasn't for that or for himself. I don't know.
It was for himself.
Yeah. But I mean, my big concern is looking at Rodgers. I understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. I understand looking at this team and saying, you know what, with a good quarterback and we have some decent coaching, we could do halfway decently next year. I'm not going to say we're going to go to the AFC Championship game. I'm not going to say that. There's holes that need to be filled, but they could be filled. It's not like it's a major gap. We're not the New York Giants, who are just a train wreck at this point. The problem is, though, with Rodgers, I just can't see the benefit of it because the problem is we're predicating this on getting a good coach and a good GM. Mm-hmm. And with Rodgers there, I just don't see it. I can't see anybody wanting to deal with him culturally because he's going to be pulling his shit. He's going to be pulling, I'm king, whatever. and these guys aren't going to watch it. And the other thing is, for all we know, Woody is stupid enough to give Rodgers veto power, and that would be absolutely
Veto power for what? The general manager, head coach?
No.
Yeah, either one of them.
I don't see that.
That's not going to happen.
I could see him doing it. You know what? I could see him. He's stupid enough.
No,
I hate to say it. I've been around a long time. It's maybe not be likely, but the other problem comes in too. Then you get things like, okay, so we hire a head coach. Who does he hire as an offensive coordinator? Does he have to cater to Aaron Rodgers?
That's my problem.
Rodgers claims he said, I'm willing to learn a new system. In his whole career, he never has. It's always been a variation on the same thing.
That's the one thing I'm worried about is if you have the coach, the coordinator is going to bring their offense. Is that offense an Aaron Rodgers offense, or is it my offense that you've got to figure it out? Or
are you going to tell the offensive coordinator you got to play his offense?
There's
so many pieces to this.
The
other thing that's really concerning me, I'm glad they're looking at general manager candidates at this point. Because again, you hope they take time, they can evaluate the personnel, they can do all these things. What worries me is those then hearing, well, they're talking about possibly hiring a head coach at the same time. Now, head coach is a little more difficult because I don't know if they're going to hire before the season ends. Simply because by not doing that, that means they eliminate people that they can talk to who are working for other teams.
Yeah, but see, it's a double-edged sword though, because the guys they're interviewing now are all accomplished NFL executives. You know, they are like Robinson, Dimitroff, even Riddick. But these guys are all like, if you find your guy, you say, you know what, this is the guy I want to hire. If you announce that hire the day the season ends, when the head coaching search starts, you're on the same page as everybody else. When the Jaguars are looking or wherever else is looking, you're making the same exact phone calls they are. If you're still looking for your general manager, well, they're already interviewing head coaches. You're behind the 8 ball.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I think they need to do it early. I'm just a little worried, though, that when I hear things like, well, we might hire him at the same time, it's like what you're doing is it's a forced marriage. You hit the nail on the head. And that worries me.
Piss me off.
But
dude, the thing, I guess I'm a little naive because they've already done it and it already didn't work. They've already tried that.
I mean, they've done it so many different variations.
But hiring the coach for the general manager is fucking stupid.
We had a coach and they hired Itzik, which was a disaster. We've had all these variations. It doesn't work. The general manager should be hiring it. And again, the other problem I'm worried about is the cultural thing. So let's say we get somebody like a Brian Flores, and I'm just bringing him up as an example. I think Flores has some red marks that I'm not sure. I like him in some ways, and I think he'd be really good that way about accountability and stuff. But then if you have Rodgers there, you have like a parallel universe. You got the head coach and you have Rodgers. And I'm just not entirely certain after this year how much that'll affect things. I think that Rodgers has his own universe. And I don't know if he'll play into a new head coach. Will he buy?
It shouldn't be the Rodgers universe. It's the Jets universe. It's the Jets organization.
And that's the thing. We can't have, and that's what this always comes down to. It's why I'm really mad. He's going to pull this BS of, well, I'm going to take my time. He'll get on McAfee every week and he'll sit there and say, well, I'm thinking about it. I'm leaning this way. You know what? First of all, come back and decide if you want to play football again, first of all.
But that's my biggest concern. Is the Jets, they have their general manager. I told them before, you get your general manager, you get your coach, like, you know what? We want Rodgers back. You're like, well, that's cool. I'm going to think about it now. And then now you go through that whole darkness retreat.
And but it becomes a chicken and the egg thing too, because 100%. When they're hiring a general manager, right, with this uncertainty at Rodgers, unless Woody tells the guy, let's say they hire a general manager in the next couple of weeks before the season ends. If Woody tells him, basically says, look, would you be willing to accept Rodgers? The guy might say no, right? Mm-hmm. It also could be, hopefully Woody would sit back and say, well, will you accept him? I really want you as general manager. He said, look, I don't think I want him. We don't even know if you, and the other thing is the guy turns and says, we don't even know. And that uncertainty is going to keep from hiring even a general manager.
No, I completely disagree. I think any general manager in you right now has a clear-cut, concise plan what they want to do. Here's my vision. Here's my plan. This is what I want to do a quarterback. And then, but it's like, I want this, and this. This is my plan. There's not no wishy-washy shit. They already have their opinion of Rodgers.
But would you even interview if you know that there's the uncertainty with Aaron Rodgers? Unless you're certain that you can work with him, would you even interview there? Knowing that
if you have full power, you make the decision yourself.
Well,
what Bryce
that's
said.
but that
Right?
comes the big question. Who's got the power and we don't know. And
But
this
why
is the
would you
one
take the
thing
job? Like, but I mean,
we keep coming back to. We keep circling the drain
no,
again.
but that's not the whole thing. But who, like, if I'm a second time general manager, if I'm Robinson or Dimitrov, I'm not going to come here where I don't have power to make decisions. If I say, you know what, I don't want Rodgers, you say, well, you have to take him. I'm not taking your job. Why am I putting my resume on the line to deal with your incompetence and make me inherit shit?
Well,
I'm not taking the job.
No, you're pretty dead spot on. I mean, I can't disagree with that. And the problem there comes in though, if somebody, that's the thing. Will it be a deterrent? Will they sit back and say, look, I'll come in an interview. So they comes in and says, this is my scheme. This is everything else. And then, Woody comes down later and says, well, Rodgers just said he's going to play. So you're going to have to take him. The guy hopefully would say,
that's all ironed out beforehand, man. It is.
I hope.
There's no way in the
I
hell that
really,
happens.
really hope so.
What do you think, Brian Time?
It has to be ironed out beforehand. That's why we're in this mess. That's why we've been in this mess for the last 14 years.
You guys are talking very rationally. We all are. We've been through this. And then we're dealing with Woody, who might turn around and say, you know what? Rodgers looked really good against Jacksonville. Look at social media, all the Jets fans, and there's a lot of stupid Jets fans out there saying, look how great he played. Rodgers is great. We're back again. And then Woody buys into it, and all of a sudden he starts promoting Aaron Rodgers 3.0 as the great savior. We don't, and you know what? There's going to be a lot of fans that buy it, and they're going to buy tickets.
But see,
and
that
going to say,
no,
that,
man, I don't think
that mindset is the problem, though, and that's what needs to change. Woody Johnson giving up power, staying out of things, and letting his football guys execute their vision, whatever that may be, whoever that may involve.
You're going to know if he hires an experienced GM, right? And none of these guys, I've looked at them. Riddick is interesting. I've got problems with him for some reasons, but I think in some ways he'd be better. Hopefully he'd also be a better communicator with fans and the media because he's been in the media, so he knows how to handle them. He's not Joe Douglas hiding, sleeping someplace, but actually talks to them and says, this is what we're doing. This is the plan. He's very
speaks with conviction.
He's very well spoken. He's also speaks his mind. And again, hopefully this may not get him hired, because the other problem with Woody is he tends to hire these introverts. He tends to hire these people that I don't know what the hell happens when they go into a black hole.
But I think the criteria for this team is quite obvious. You need a firm, personality that can handle the media, the fan base, the players, everything. That's why you need an established guy.
And as a GM, they have to be able to handle the coach as well, because that's
the same thing. But you can't be a bumbling, stumbling idiot that can't talk or humble or just that's kind of a behind the scenes decision. No, you got to be able to talk about it and with conviction that this is the way we run things. I've done it before. This is the way we're doing it.
And he has to make clear. I think they have to make clear that whoever the coach is, that he's still the general manager, and if it can be, that can be behind the scenes. I don't expect him to come in the press and say, "Well, the team's stumbling all over the place, making stupid mistakes." And I read him the riot act, but he better be, because this is something Douglas never did. Obviously, he never did.
Well, there's been no accountability at all. They've all justified losing for 3 years.
And it's the excuses. So the point is, I think that's there. I think what scares me, again, is the coming back. I know we keep coming back to Woody, but it's we just don't know. Has he learned his lesson? Is he going to really allow it to happen? Because I could just as easily see Woody, Group 33 comes back with a list of candidates, so they start interviewing them. Group 33 talks to him. Everybody talks, and they say, you know what? We really let's hire the guy that Robinson, the guy came from the Titans, just use an example. And Woody says, he's a really great guy, but, I really and it's another one of these,
that's out of our control, man. But that's the whole thing. It's the decision makers are who? Is it Woody, Chris, and Jaime? Who are the guys making the final decision? That's the problem. That's something that we can never escape.
Is not making, people keep saying they're making the decision. They're not. They're giving them, they're interviewing, they're giving people to interview, they're interviewing them. They're going through a process. I'm sure they're interviewing them. And then they talk to, and then there's going to be a meeting and they're going to talk about it.
And Woody decides
who the hell's making it. And what really worries me, this is where victories at the end of the year worry me, because again, Woody has an attention span of a gnat. And he'll forget and he'll say, oh, we ended the season. Let's say we somehow miraculously win the next 3 games, right?
Oh, Christ.
Buffalo doesn't care because they've got nothing to play for, really, which is probably at that point they don't. They probably clinched everything they need, including home field advantage or whatever, the buys or whatever in the playoffs. The Rams are fighting. They're going to be tough. The Dolphins, we're playing in Swamp Stadium in January.
And the coaches are going to get fired. It looks like they're coaching some deep shit down there.
I know he is, and they've looked terrible, and they haven't been great. And Tua playing
based on Primetime's criteria, he'd be a candidate for us.
Why?
McDaniel?
Offensive guy. They didn't make the playoffs. That's the matter. They made the playoffs. They just lost though.
Yeah, they didn't win a playoff game. So.
He's like,
they made it though.
No way.
He's made the playoffs too, right? And lost.
He lost. I think they were one
out of my memory.
They lost. They lost. When
I'm out on Dolphins coaches. How about that? I'm out on Dolphins.
No Dolphins coaches. I mean, hiring a coach that's been fired. I mean, unless it's somehow San Francisco gets a brain fart and they fire Shanahan.
So you don't want Vrabel?
Vrabel, I'm of mixed minds with him, and I know it may be terrible.
So then, if you don't want a coach that's fired, who's your number one candidate?
At this point, no, look, Vrabel is definitely one list. I'm also want to see the list that the Group 33 comes up with. I'm really curious to see the list of people they're hiring, because I can't, I want to see, because there's people there that I don't even know about that they come up with who might be interesting.
I mean, that's everything
Vrabel's
right now.
One of the top candidates. My problem with Vrabel, the only thing I wonder about him is, and he did pretty well, I thought, with the Titans. I'm not against him. But, I'm also looking for a coach. One of the things that people keep talking about, well, I just want to make the playoffs, which is great. But I really want a team that their goal is to win a championship. And there's these coaches. How many coaches? Remember Marvin Lewis? How many years did they make the playoffs and lose? He was there for like 14 years.
But right now, making the playoffs for consecutive years is a monumental accomplishment.
I understand that, but I still want somebody. And is Vrabel that guy that has that fire in his belly that wants to win a championship?
You got to crawl before you can walk. You got to get there in order to actually.
I'm not saying that in year 2 you should win a championship. You should be competitive. I think if he's building a new team, and we're still going to be rebuilding, guys, because even after, let's say, Rodgers plays next year, then we're going to have either a young quarterback, whatever the situation is, and sign Andy Dalton, right? Play, it's going to be a couple of years, and hopefully we'll be in the playoffs soon, and then it'll build up, and then we advance.
Yeah,
and maybe one year we make the playoffs, next year we make a championship game, whatever the hell it is. We need. But I just want to see somebody do that. I'm not sure of Vrabel. I think Flores has a fire in his belly, but I think he's also got, I'm wondering some of his personality stuff. They're
all going to be as good as their coordinators, man. That's the whole thing. It's like,
and Flores needed 4 offensive coordinators in 3 years.
We've
been down that path with Bowles. I don't trust that shit.
I don't either. I mean, there's a lot of pieces.
Didn't Vrabel have Keith Carter and Todd Downing?
And he still won with them.
Did he have Carter? I thought he was he there when Vrabel was there?
I got the most.
I'm pretty sure Carter was there with Vrabel,
but I don't remember.
Primetime's audio is terrible right now. Your audio is terrible.
It's my phone, bro. I don't have my microphone.
It's like echoing. It's giving me like.
The microphone's right here. It's not plugged into my phone.
You have Jake making comments. We got you with this horrific audio. This is why we're a clown show.
And yeah, guys, well, let somebody else on. But I just think
have a good
my
night.
Take on it is that with Rodgers, that it has to be on a really clearly defined. And the problem, you hit the nail on the head, that worries me. My final comment is that if they hire, like they decide to keep Rodgers, right? If the perception is that the GM and head coach kind of were forced into it and they went along with it. And again, you're right. A good person won't accept that. It'll be decided early. They'll go to Woody and say, look, what are you planning to do with Rodgers? And if Woody says, well, he hasn't made his mind yet, but if he comes back, I want him there, they're going to walk away. So we know that.
Yeah, no, I do. I think it's.
I think there's going to be a perception there, though, or especially if Woody goes with somebody like a coordinator, a first-time coordinator, who's not like, let's say, a Ben Johnson or something like that, like a really top one that a lot of people are jumping at. I think
we'll see through all of this, dude. Like the thing is, like, we're not idiots. We understand all the candidates. We understand all the criteria. We understand when they start pivoting and going in a different direction, that something's fishy behind the scenes. Like they can't. This isn't the day like 20 years ago when your only news came from the New York Post. Everybody's all over it now. Like they can't hide from their bullshit.
Well, I'm just hoping that Woody realizes that, because this
he
is
does. Trust me.
I don't know. You
process.
know what? He's made so many bloody mistakes that and the social media and everything else has been out there now. This is not something that started last year. The social media has been there 5 to 10 years. It's visible.
Have a good night, man.
Take care.
Have a good night.
I wonder if Jake, you got to see V-Man's call tonight. Me and V-Man fought for 6 minutes. Primetime was scared.
I just stayed out of it. I let you two guys do your thing. So
we literally fought. We had our first fight in like probably 3 months.
You were kind of harsh.
Huh?
You were kind of harsh.
I wasn't in the mood for his shit tonight because I knew he's going to be anti-Belichick and then start rooting all his stuff, and you couldn't back it up with anything. It's like, who do you want? Who do you want to be the coach? Just trust me, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
You should have given him the official GM interview that you gave everybody.
So now our next guest he's going through tough times, man. The Seahawks beat the Jets. He was living his best life. Then yesterday, the wheels fell off the Seahawk wagon, and now he's gonna be amongst the tanking. Was it Sam Howell, the quarterback?
Yep.
Welcome back to Losing Football.
Gentlemen, good evening. I'm here for my interview.
You want the interview?
Yes.
So let's start with your head coaching candidate. Who is GM Jose Rodriguez hiring for the Jets head coach?
Either Brian Flores or
Come on with that.
Or Bobby Slovic, the
Fired. Out.
Houston Texans offensive coordinator, or Mike Vrabel.
Okay.
Mike Vrabel. Those are my top three.
Who are they? Vrabel,
Slovic,
and Flores.
All right, that's not terrible. I've heard worse ideas on this show tonight.
But Flores would be your top guy? That would be your first interview?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Gross.
Why? Now tell me why.
Because he has attitude, and I like attitude.
Primetime's got attitude. I'm not hiring him.
Gates had an attitude.
Let me finish.
But Gates was a jerk though. Salah had an attitude. See how that worked out for us.
Not really.
Even though he was hard on Tua, at the end of the day, he was right.
He was right. Justin Herbert's a better player.
If they would have drafted Herbert instead of Tua, they might be at the top of the AFC. I'm just saying.
No, I'd much rather deal with Tua than Herbert. I just feel bad. Tua's just banged up again. That sucks.
Yes, it does.
So how are you coping with your Seahawks fiasco now?
Well,
is it over?
No, nothing.
Yeah. You still believing?
Nothing is seriously wrong with Gino. The only bad thing is Sunday we have to play the Vikings.
Oh, you're getting smoked.
Wait, Sam Darnold versus Geno Smith? Is this Sunday?
Oh my God, we should stream. Can we stream?
Can we stream that game instead?
I'd much rather watch that game than Jets Rams.
Can we do that, please?
I'd much rather watch that than Jets Rams.
Can we do that, please? Oh my God, can we please do that?
The Jets play first, then the Seahawks play after the Jets.
This might have to be like a 7-hour stream.
I would 100% do that. 100% do that.
Can I join?
Absolutely.
Dude, I would do that stream in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In an absolute heartbeat. Now, Jose, do you think I was too hard on V-Man? Was I just a jerk tonight?
No.
I didn't think so either. I've been confrontational, a little confrontational this evening.
It's not your fault he didn't have any answers, and all he had was hatred.
We gotta have some. See, Primetime's too nice. You need one jerk on this show, and I want to be that jerk because on Victory Monday, I'm not happy. I'm annoyed.
I don't blame you.
So sometimes you gotta be that guy.
Yes, you do.
And then I get ripped to shreds for the next 3 days in freaking social media. So that's perfect. I already got one tweet, bro. You're such a jerk off. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
That?
Some guy. I guess thought I was mean to V-Man. I'm like, dude. First of all, we play around a little bit, but I'm like, dude, you're gonna call in, and we knew he hates Belichick. It's no secret. It's like Jesus Christ.
Hey, PT.
What's up?
How's fantasy doing?
Awful.
That's not a joke. That wasn't a joke.
Jose, you'd be proud of me. I came in second seed, first round bye.
Nice.
And then this is the nice guy that I am. I'm a nice guy. Yeah. I did the anti-Jake Klein move. I offered to consult Primetime for free fantasy football advice. And he said no to me. Isn't that some shit?
I got hit with the injury bug this year. What can I do?
You sound like Stalin now.
I do.
Ask me next year. I'll take you up.
I'm going to take a hard look at my drafting strategy in the offseason.
If I hear that phrase one more fucking time, I'm gonna just pound myself with a hammer.
Me too.
But that's why the only good thing about the win yesterday is you can ignore all like the incompetence. Like it's really a deodorant for all the shit you have to hear every week. So you can like listen to some new catchphrases until like next Monday.
Before I go,
Yes, sir.
PT, any more dates lately?
Negative, bro. I've been working like 60-hour weeks and new jobs, so dating is on the afterburners right now.
Prime time is striking out like Olbrich and game management.
All right, guys.
Have a good night, man.
Have a good night. Love you,
Have a
guys.
good night, Jose.
Thank you guys for enduring this 2 hours of pure chaos that Primetime expected it because I was just in a mood. So that's just going to happen. And then tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, me and Ian, where he's going to have his hands full of me. Bro, he's
not going to be able to handle it.
He's not going to be able to handle this. He's not. No. He's all positive. Like, he texts me all these nice. I'm like, look at this. See this, bro? I'm like, you have no idea. Poor guy. So
I'll be watching that.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll be back Sunday. What time is it? Is it 1 o'clock game on Sunday?
Yep.
1 o'clock game on Sunday. Thank you guys for watching and supporting us. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you later.
Have a good night.